Try it again now. Oh, gotcha. Okay, good.
Upon approval agenda, just remind me. Okay. Welcome. We are reconvening an open session on October 27th, 2022 at 6:11 p.m. for the regularly scheduled board meeting of Washington Unified School District. Can everybody please stand? And Ms. Annabelle Camacho will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, announcements. I'm going to take roll call. Trustee Barnes? Vice President Kirby Gonzalez? Present. And I am present. Clerk Venegas?
Present.
Coming from the computer over here. That's his name tag. Trustee Pizzotti?
Present.
Thank you. We are all here and present. So announcements of actions to be taken in closed session is Government Code Section 54956.9 D2, pending or potential litigation information received. Item E2, Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiators, WSTA, CSEA, and management. Information received. Government Code Section 54957, public employee discipline, dismissal, release. Information received. Okay, we're going to move on to approval of the agenda item, and I understand there isn't a request for amendment.
Yes, President Wong, I'd like to move item J, the communication celebrations, where we want to recognize our wonderful outreach team and talk about and highlight the support systems we have in place to help students. We want to make sure that we can acknowledge all of our team members, so the request is to move item J after item K, the student board report and association report.
Do I have any other amendments? Seeing that there are none, I will entertain a motion to approve with J being moved after K, the association report.
So moved.
Vice President Kirby Gonzalez moves, Trustee Pizzotti seconds. Because it's a teleconference, it's a roll call vote. I'm looking for my attorney. Where is she? Not here. There she is. Trustee Pizzotti?
Aye.
Clerk Venegas?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Vice President Kirby Gonzalez?
Aye.
Trustee Barnes?
Aye.
You have your, Annabelle Camacho?
Aye.
You have your agenda. So we're going to move on to item K1. You're up, school board member Annabelle Camacho. Your student board report.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Annabelle Camacho. I'm a junior from Washington Middle College High School, and I'm also the student board member. And I'll be, yeah. Bridgeway Elementary School has, sorry. The students were visited from Magnuson the Goats for all of their hard work during the PTO Cherrydale fundraiser. They had a Thrive Assembly for the end of their month-long focus on teamwork with a fun game. And in October and November, they will be focusing on the H in Thrive, which stands for hard worker. The 6th through 8 PBIS team members and leadership students organized a quarter rewards celebration in the afternoon for all the students who worked hard and had positive behavior. Riverbank Elementary School is learning how to access the FEB online tutoring in class, and they had a book fair and spirit days this week. They also celebrated the Day of the Dead and have a garden project scheduled for this Saturday where they will be renovating their garden. Southport Elementary School had the pleasure of collaborating with the Mercy Coalition for their first annual Socktoberfest, where they donated socks and warm clothes to local families in need. They also wanted to congratulate the winners to the 15th anniversary World Peace Rose Garden poem winners and congratulate their volleyball and football teams for a great season. They also wanted to thank the amazing PTO at their school for organizing and providing enrichment opportunities for all students after school. Stonegate Elementary School, their kindergarten community helpers, the Unit 1 ELA focused on community helpers, and they saw a few different types of helpers in their community. Ms. Lamar's third grade community service project with the Mercy Coalition in West Sacramento raised 315 new socks and 129 jackets, sweaters, and coats for local families in need. And the pictures attached are from their Avid 6 team building exercises. The Westmore Oaks Elementary School have their kinder classes working on their community helpers unit, where they were visited by some doctors and doctors in training yesterday. The Victor services were busy at the Westmore Oaks campus conducting a Stop Bullying presentation for the 2nd through 5th graders and 3rd graders in Kids Zone, and their River City High School peer readers began their Raiders Readers journey. Westfield Elementary last week were also visited by the Victor service, and they were provided a workshop for suicide prevention for their parents. And students enjoyed some dress-up days this week while learning about the importance of being drug-free. The Washington Unified Virtual Academy, October traits were being caring and friendly. They will be celebrating their middle school students on their next in-person day on November 1st. And they have some student awards for great attendance, for their principal list, which is for 4.0 GPAs, their high honor roll for 3.5 to 3.9 GPAs, and an honor roll for 3.0 to 3.49 GPAs. They're also looking forward to having a picture day, some Student of the Month award assemblies, and the Quarter 1 awards for their middle schoolers. The Evergreen Elementary Opportunity is rocking it with their Green Light Get Out, where they are learning lots of team building and communication skills. Students are participating in restorative practices with Mr. King on a daily basis, and students are catching up academically to be prepared when they return to their home campuses in January. The Washington Adult School just had 2 more students graduate from their high school diploma program, and 1 student who just passed a portion of the GED exam on their first try. They wanted to thank Ms. Jennifer and their partners at Sacramento City College for setting up a tour for their students in ELL and citizenship to tour the library and the Sacramento City College West Sacramento campus on Tuesday. And congratulations to Ms. Parcilla for being nominated for the Golden Apple of Instructions Award this month, and Mr. Jose for being nominated for the Fish Award this month. Yolo High School wanted to thank Assistant Superintendent Stovall for coming to visit campus yesterday and joining them in learning in their classrooms and playing handball. They wanted to thank Ms. Eli and Mr. King for all their hard work in putting together their student focus groups. And they wanted to shout out Ms. Cornell and Ms. Torres, who received a lot of positive feedback around engaging instruction for their student panels. And congratulations to Ms. Eli for being nominated for the Golden Apple Award this week, and Coach Dennis for being nominated for the Fish Award this week. Washington Middle College High School's 11th grade English class students participated in a Socratic seminar to prepare us for college level work. Students have been trained to tutor elementary students at Riverbank and Elkhorn. Student leadership had a fall festival, and we are celebrating Red Ribbon Week with some spirit days and pledging to be drug-free. River City High School has their Rising Readers program, where they met with Westmore Oaks students twice a week with 30-minute sessions. Yeah. Thank you. Are there any questions?
For your presentation. Annabelle, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the board meeting and vote if you'd like, or be part of the discussion. We always love kind of feedback for member if you have time, but we also understand if you have homework.
I'm
So,
good. Yeah, I'll
okay.
stay.
Good. Moving on to WSTA report, can I welcome up President Doug Knapp? Glad you made it through.
Yes, cancel that request. I was on the causeway, and you guys know the causeway. I thought I was never going to get here. Good evening, President Wong, Vice President Kirby Gonzalez, and board members. It's nice to see you here tonight. I'm still in traffic mode, so I'm just going to kind of get through my notes. I'm going to be pretty brief tonight, although I say that all the time. You guys know the results. But first of all, I want tonight to address campus climate. And this isn't a dramatic statement other than the fact that we're coming out of the peak of the crisis that we've gone through for the last several years. And I know it's human nature when we do that to think, okay, let's move on. And we do have to move on. We have to focus on the future. But I think sometimes what happens when we go through something like we've gone through is that we're so grateful that we're starting to move in a new direction. And listen, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I know that the winter is coming and who knows, but I think we need to be super cognizant of the fact that the impacts of the last 3 years are still wreaking havoc on our students and on our teachers. And if you ask teachers, they're going to tell you that every day we're seeing socio-emotional aftermath of the last, and it's like I've never seen. In 20 years of teaching personally, the ways that students are acting out and hurting just breaks my heart. Because I teach primary, so obviously for me, there's kids that missed a huge part of developing socially. But the older kids are struggling socio-emotionally as well, and in sometimes darker ways. So as we come into this period where we're trying to move forward and figure out how we're going to continue to serve our students, I think it's really important that we work together to continue to look at what's been happening and in the past and what's happening because of it now. And I actually think it's important enough because I don't think anybody's excited about talking about COVID anymore, but I think it's important enough that we actually should consider creating a group to look at the ongoing effects, a collaborative group with all stakeholders, the ongoing effects and how we can address them so that they don't just slide underneath the rug. I know I'm dealing with it in my classroom, so I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. WSTA is still eager to hear about and collaborate on community schools. It's one of those things that I'm super excited because both my association, teachers, and school districts are in agreement on something really valuable, and that is that schools should match their community and every school should get what it needs based on its needs, not based on some other perception about what schools are, because I will tell you, you just go to every different school in our district and you guys know this, the reality is different, not positive, negative, just different at every school, and every school needs different things. So we're really eager to work with the district, and the cabinet has reached out and said that there's a process and they're going to be reaching out to us. So
we're excited to have that conversation, and excited to talk to you about it when it comes. I'm also super, I just wanted to share that there's a really positive relationship right now with Human Resources, the Cabinet, and WSTA in regards to how we're working and communicating. And one item here, and obviously I'm about to dispatch my bargaining team to start researching Article 19, which is the only article that we're opening up this year, and that's preschools. But also, we have to renew the MOU for the Washington Unified Virtual Academy. And we need to talk to those teachers, and we need to talk to the administrators about what worked for the Virtual Academy and what didn't. I'm super excited that Mr. Panu, HR, Ed Services, and myself are going to actually meet together first before we go off into our corners, and we're going to talk together with the school. And so we can start with common language when we're at the table. And obviously, I'm going to need to go and hear, behind closed doors what my members are saying, and HR and Ed Services are going to have to hear what administrators say. But I think that step of us working together on the front and trying to hear the commonalities, I'm super excited about it. And I just wanted to share that, because it's not always rain clouds with me, there's good stuff. And then back to Article 19. We're going to be looking at Article 19, and one thing that the WUSD Cabinet and WSTA kind of agreed on with Article 19 is that there's really muddy language when it comes to what the job requirements and benefits and those sorts of things for our preschool teachers are, and it's kind of a confusing world. And unfortunately, our preschool teachers often feel like they're not a part because their world is so different. So we're going to be doing a deep dive. I know that HR is going to be looking at what's going on for preschoolers, but I really encourage the board to go and talk to preschool teachers and find out. One of the things that happened a couple years ago, which I think was a good thing, was that we moved our preschools to sites. Instead of being at one site, we distributed them across the district. And that's good because, once again, it's making each preschool a part of its constituent community. But one thing that I don't think that we thought of is that we have obviously a director of the preschool program, but we also have now site administrators at each site that oversee that program. And I'm not sure that those administrators have had the opportunity to receive the professional development, because, as you know, preschool is a totally different legal beast. And I just know with my interactions, I actually feel for some of the administrators at these sites, because they're like, I don't know how to answer that question. So there's a couple of things. We need to get them the training that they need, but we also need to clear up kind of the line of communication from, who's talking to the preschool teachers. Is it the director of preschool? Is the site administrator? When do those communications happen, and who and what's the protocol for when they talk? Because I can tell you right now, it's a little bit confusing for both administrators and teachers. Let's see, I had one more thing. Whoa, oh yes, this is important. Okay, this is, I wanted to talk a little bit about our VAPA program, because I know that at WUSD we celebrate our VAPA program, and it's a really important piece of us moving into the future and making sure that we're giving pathways to students in all areas. But I'm concerned because when our VAPA program was designed, it was originally designed for 5th grade. It was only 5th grade. And the nature of that program meant that the way that we talked about VAPA, it was important that VAPA model a K-8 kind of program. Well, now our VAPA teachers are teaching all grades except for kindergarten, and even kindergarten in some sites. And their caseload is enormous. In fact, most VAPA teachers are responsible for a lot more students than middle school teachers. But if you look at what VAPA's kind of the way their job is designed, it's based around 5th grade. So where a middle school teacher has a prep every single day, the VAPA teachers only have 2 preps a week, like a 5th grade teacher or a 1st grade teacher. And so they're already struggling to make sure that they get all their things graded and communicate with all the students and do those sorts of things, because again, they're functioning more like a middle school teacher. But you add on top of that, now it cites, because we don't have a ton of language for VAPA in our contract, administrators are asking VAPA teachers to push into other classes when they have opening. They're asking VAPA teachers to run interventions, and there's and some other programs. And listen, I understand it's all hands on deck right now in schools, and we need to support our students. But there's two things that I think that is unfortunate. One, we're sending the message to VAPA teachers that they're kind of like bench players, like they're catch-alls, and we're gonna throw them in wherever we need them, and we don't really see you as a teacher. We see you as whatever you need to be at the time. I think that is really undermining their professionalism, and our district's dedication to VAPA. Right? We need to value this position as a position, and not as a catch-all. And the other thing is that we're losing VAPA teachers because of it. And I can tell you right now, just about every VAPA teacher has contacted me overloaded and overwhelmed. So if we care about VAPA, we have to address this. Now I've talked to the cabinet about it, and we've just started it. So this conversation is ongoing, but I think it's really important that the board is aware of this problem, because it really is a problem that is starting to affect retention of our teachers. And we started to see that last year. That being said, and I know I said I was going to be short, and I lie every single time, but I'm going to turn it over to Colum, who has some exciting news that he wants to share about an upcoming event.
Thank you, President Knapp. President Wong, Vice President Kirby-Gonzalez, members of the cabinet, Superintendent Hildreth, thank you. Good to see you, Stan, and Kamaljeet as well, and Monique, hello. Lots of ducks and bunnies, not a whole lot of fire and brimstone. Okay. Ooh, I get more than 3 minutes? Wow. This is fun. First off, I wanted to start off by highlighting a continued advocacy for democracy. One of our own I'm not as tall as Doug. One of our own WSTA members, Amber Bradley, has and continually puts together a mock election every single year with district of Yolo County and district-wide initiatives, ballot measures, as well as the California gubernatorial and open election process. She utilizes primary sources, utilizes community outreach, and actually communicates and advocates and gets resources from the Yolo County Office of Elections to simulate and run a very fun and exciting mock election at River City High School. Not only this is a great thing to hear for not only democracy, but for WUSD, is that early voting registration happens as well. And this is all student driven by our incredible staff and colleagues making this happen. This is part of her government economics unit. So a big shout out to that, as democracy is a backbone and heartbeat of a healthy democracy. It's great to see this happening. Not only do freshmen get to participate, but students who are 16 years or age of over are early registered there as well. So this is a really nice highlight to have for our students. I would like to recommend to the board, or keep in mind, continued teacher support and new teacher support beyond and above BITSA training, which is good. Whether it's at the K-8 model or whether it's at 912, where I spend the majority of my days, teachers need observation and feedback and best practices time from their fellow teachers, as well as administrators, site administration, and support staff to ensure the best possible teaching model, pedagogy, and instructional time for our students. So please continue to advocate for that. A couple of things as I live in the community that are brought to my attention. ECE and cost disparities between charter schools and also between district-provided early childhood programs. I'm not good with the numbers, and when I get people hitting me with information from several different sides, and it's kind of hard to process it. There's seems to be a cost disparity for early childhood care or TK care. This is, again, not my wheelhouse. This is more of a Doug thing. But when people come to me, I feel it's important to bring these things up, is that there seems to be a really cost prohibitive reason to using district models versus charter models, which are significantly provide more services later into the evenings, as well as a severe cost disparity. And so I'd really like to kind of just acknowledge that, and what my wonder is that could the board maybe think about that and maybe provide some direction. It's been nice to have conversations with Superintendent Hildreth as well, and continuing to have those models and discussions based on middle school model, and what is best for our students and their needs. With that being said, I can tell you as a ninth grade teacher right now, I'm definitely feeling the reverberations of what they need in those middle school environments, whether it be a 10-12 model or a 9-12 model with a 6-7-8 or a 7-8-9, depending on what the needs of our students again are. I'm really excited, and I know Doug and I have talked about this as well, is to provide those community models for our schools as what's best for their needs. Students are definitely exhibiting and showing behavior traits that we kind of expected to be flushed out around 8th and 7th grade. And I think COVID, as Doug had said, is kind of put a hamper on some of those growths and growth markers that we typically see. My last piece of business is, again, to advocate for VAPA. I want to advocate for VAPA in kind of a different language and space, is that I know that we are looking forward to breaking ground and doing some big things for amphitheater and for high school production when it comes to the position of our flagship, River City High School, which is awesome. With that, keep in mind that marching band and the program that has been established there, and those places and spaces that students use, as River City population doesn't necessarily grow proportional to students, but to student athletes and program growth. We might have the same population, but we're growing in other places and spaces where we're finding a lot of overlap, and Facilitron can only handle so much. It's time to start considering how do you rededicate some spaces or times to provide access and equity to access for all students. VAPA is very special and close to my heart. It's always been the glue that binds math, science, English language, and social sciences together. It's why I love and always support VAPA, despite not knowing how to play an instrument other than the air guitar. It's like really super special and important to me, which is why I always fight hard for VAPA. With that being said, things like marching band could be improved, as well as community outreach and fingers and tentacles that we have with the West Sac Bears and rugby clubs, from external lights on the back 240, on the back 40, as they proverbially say, right? External lights in those places and spaces allow for those community members to not only engage with the spaces and places, but to run practices in a way that's meaningful, developmental, and above all, professional for what it means to have a marquee flagship high school. Having portable lights out there, in my opinion, is unacceptable. At some point or another, and I know I brought this up with my speaker issue at the high school, and I do know that there are improvements coming to the speaker system. Shout out to Daniel Gandara for making sure that we had a quality sound system. I know Sarah Kirby and I even talked about how kind of loud it can get on Friday night at football games, and it was quite nice to have the community involved with that, because they enjoy that kind of camaraderie and esprit de corps that comes with a good announcement and PA system. Our kids deserve that. Our community deserves that. And that's what a professional flagship school really carries. And so with that, kind of illuminating even just that little back paddock of grass will really kind of elevate what it means to have some prestige and to be able to provide opportunities, whether it's marching band needing a place to practice, or whether it's West Sac Bears knowing that they can practice till 9:30 at night. Those would be benefits for both all students, members, and community members as well. With that, I'll turn it back over to Doug Knepp unless he has nothing else. Thank you for your time.
Now is the time for CSA report. Vice President Ruth Pagano turn. EVP.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Hildreth, President Wong, and Board of Trustees, and Cabinet. As everyone knows, there's a lot going on in the district right now. It is October, after all. We hope you and your families are well and enjoying the fall. CSEA would like you all to be aware of what's currently happening in the district and how it's affecting our members. Bilingual certification has been awarded to many classified employees. They have now been certified to speak, write, and translate for our families and community members who are interested in joining WUSD. This is truly a celebration and something we are so proud to have accomplished. Our bilingual members have been provided a stipend or extra pay, which is earned by timesheeting. For providing this critical service, as this new process has begun, some of our members have been criticized differently over their timesheets and the numbers of hours they are actually using their language skills. Thus far, 2 members have decided to not provide translation anymore due to the despairing approval and non-approval process at their sites. HR is aware of this concern and has thus far not rectified the situation. It is our hope that clear communication and support be provided to our members who provide this essential service to students and the school community. And when such problems arise, this should absolutely be a priority. Another priority is the health of our health offices at all of our sites. Recently, in one of our labor relations meetings, a staff concern was brought to the district about when our health aides need to go to a doctor's appointment or are sick. We would like you to know who is filling that critical role. More specifically, the impacts and who is actually able to administer medications, including insulin. Well, according to the district, the health aide role can be filled by a site administrator or the secretaries. According to Ed Code, unlicensed school personnel designated by the site administrator can administer medication if they are willing to perform that, if they are trained and determined to be capable and competent, if they are supervised by a licensed healthcare professional who is legally authorized, and if the staff member performing medication administration does not administer medications, the unlicensed staff member does not administer medications that must be administered by injection, medications that have the potential for immediate severe adverse reactions, or medications that require nursing assessment or dosing adjustment before administration, except for emergencies. This administering of insulin would then fall under that category. This is the reason that diabetic students shall always have access to certified health aides or LVNs or nurses. Based on our recent discussion, the district has hired a floater LVN. This is not a one-to-one. We appreciate that. We value that response, but we would like an evaluation done at all the sites to determine if there are enough health aides and whether or not additional LVNs are still required. We encourage the board to visit health offices and listen to those who do the work. Listen to the parents who have children who need medication administered. This perfect storm is preventable by the recruitment of more health aides, and please know that CSEA has communicated this clearly to the district. We ourselves have surveyed health aides in this district and can confirm that they themselves do not administer insulin. We would like to know how the vacancies of health aides are covered and how their days off or even their breaks during the day are covered. And just for perspective, and I'm sure Trustee Barnes knows this, we have learned that for the administration of insulin in a medical setting, in a hospital, 2 sets of licensed eyes must be present while the dose is given. So for our school settings, we do have students that have pumps and those who do not. But even those with a pump, a trained, certified health personnel should still be present. Lastly, we want to bring up safety on our campuses. We need more than just paper or electronic safety plans. And we will continue to share our concerns related to the safety of our members when they are shared with us. These concerns have already been shared with the district, but here are a few of the recent ones. With no school resource officers on campus, there is a delay in police response. We have poor lighting on some campuses that create safety issues for our nighttime custodians. This is especially dangerous when members work alone and/or a supervisor is only available by phone. We have had classroom incidents where paraeducators have been injured. We want to know who is doing threat assessments, not risk assessments, threat assessments, and/or how exit interviews for employees that leave the district are done, especially for those who are disgruntled. I want to end our report with a formal request regarding the implementation of bilingual extra pay on timesheets, our health offices, and general safety. There should be standards on practices that our members can rely on and should be able to understand. The direction given from leadership should be clear and concise and the same. Each site has different challenges, and we understand that, but when the concern is brought to the attention of the district, especially a health or safety concern, we should not be treated poorly or talked badly about to other staff members. We need to be in a supported environment to feel supported. Remember, the more supported the employees feel, the greater support the students and families will receive. Thank you.
Okay, now's the time for, hi Annabelle, thank you for being here. Now's the time for public comments. So if you have a public comment, hopefully you've filled out the public participation form. But before we go there, I will read a disclaimer. Members of the public may address the board on the topics of our board agenda during every meeting. In addition, during regular meetings, the public may also address any comments, but by law cannot meaningfully respond in this forum to items not on the agenda. The board may limit the total time of public input on any topic to 20 minutes unless it waives the item limit for any item. Individual speakers may be limited to 3 minutes to comment on any topic unless amended. The board respects the rights of members of the public to speak regarding matters within its jurisdiction. However, please recognize that comments regarding students other than the speaker's own children made during the public board meeting may be a violation of the student's right to privacy, and thus the speaker may be legally liable. If you reference a student's name other than your own student, you may be deemed out of order. Furthermore, it is important for the public to understand that negative or derogatory comments made against district employees or others, even those made in a public board meeting, may be actionable civil defamation. Although the board may not prohibit such comments, board policy allows the public to lodge complaints against district employees, providing more opportunity to be heard than is allowed under the open meeting law that governs this meeting. So I have a written comment. Are there any public comments submitted?
I have a question. Did we want to do the item J? We moved
Oh,
that
oops.
after.
I lied. We'll go back. At least I don't have to read the disclaimer again. Welcome up item J. I apologize.
And thus far, sorry to interject, thus far there have been no live public comments received. If you do have a request, the forms are up here in the meantime. But
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. So recognizing the WSD outreach team and support systems in place to help students and families succeed. Come on up. The team that keeps us whole.
Am I dating myself if I want to yell woo like Ric Flair at the top of my lungs and right? See, I'm getting it. This is the team, guys. This is the A team. Come on up, guys. Come on. Woo. There you go. Let's do it. Alex front and center. We have a nice little presentation for you guys today to highlight this group, this amazing group who's changing lives every day. I'm new to this group. I'm learning from them every moment. They're teaching me. Sometimes they take me out back and teach me the right way. No, I'm learning. These guys are amazing. We also have Ms. Tran. Can you please come over here? Director Tran, the amazing Director Tran. You want to say something before we jump off and get going? You want to yell a woo really loud?
Woo. No, I just wanted to say I am also really extremely proud of our team. Some are not here because they're out translating parent conferences as we speak. So it just is a testament to their never-ending dedication to the district, and we're so proud to be here and excited to acknowledge them.
Awesome. Ellie, are you ready? Maria, are you ready? And Lorena, come on up. Lorena, come on up. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Let's get, you ready? Oh, I
Hi.
need someone with,
Or I-
next slide. Go.
I got it.
What have you got? You're amazing. Keep going, keep going, keep going, because we're just going to celebrate this team. Keep going. It's an amazing team. All right. Look at that good looking picture. You're up. You want to
Good
get
evening,
on?
members of the board. Put this way down.
You want to get on my shoulder?
I'm excited
Oh,
to be
wait,
here
before
tonight
we
with.
begin, I would like Dr. Burns to wrap.
We already
waiting.
know you can.
No, hip hop, don't stop rock. Boogie to the beat.
Oh my.
Only our support team understands that inside joke.
Hi, my name is Maria Hawkins, and I'm one of the school social workers for our school district. And I am one of 8. And I'm so excited to share that we are close to having one school social worker at almost every school site full time. So I'm really excited about that. I have been with the district for 20 years, and this is the first time that this team has been this huge, and we are so blessed to have so many team members who are out there every day supporting the needs. I know I heard you, President Doug, when you stated the social emotional learning of our students are in high demand, and definitely this team here is all supporting those high demands the best we can every day. As a school social worker, some of the things that we do are school-based mental health support and crisis intervention for our general education students. That's us providing one-on-one services, anybody who is in need of additional mental health support that we are not able to serve. We do refer out. As you can see, we have Victor Community Support Services, and we are very blessed this year as well to have them working with us, and we are able to refer anybody who's in need of a higher level of support to them this school year for more individual counseling. If their needs cannot be met through them, they do refer out to more intensive counseling, so we're very blessed this school year. We also do groups as well. We do facilitate psychoeducational groups. We could work with anywhere with friendship to grief to depression, helping our students with anxiety as well. If we are not able to service groups, we also work with Victor Community Support, so we're branching out as much as possible to get as many students served. We do case consultation with teachers, staff, and parents. As you know, we're part of members of the MTSS team. We work with IEPs, 504s, SSTs, we're there. We do a lot of collaboration with community agencies, and this school year we were able to host, finally, our WSD collaborative community meeting, and we were very, very lucky to have a lot of agencies come out and participate. President Wong was there this year, and she was able to, no, can you repeat that? Oh.
Executive director.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Executive
Executive director.
Oh, she was in there as a president.
Yes, you were there representing First Five, so thank you. But we had a lot of community agencies come out and support our district, and we were able to connect with them to bring in more support services. We also do risk assessments regarding harm to self or others, and if we are unable to support students, we are also referring out to local hospitals at times or different agencies to further support our students. And we're working with as many community agencies as we can. Thank you.
Next slide, please. You ready? You go ahead and wrap.
So our team is really good speaking one-on-one, but in person, sorry,
No, you're good.
apologize. I'm Ellie Leon. I am the Youth Outreach Specialist for YOLO, Washington Middle, and WUVA. I've been part of the district 16 years, and I'm really happy, as Maria said, to have a big team for the first time in, I think, ever. So we are very close with our team. We always consult with each other, and I think most of us are covered except for my schools. It's fine. And we do monitor attendance, we do SARTs, we do check in with a lot of our students. A lot of attendance happens because something's going on at home, and so it overlaps a lot of what the social workers do, so we work very close with each other. We do SARTs and SARBs, and then we attend all the SSTs, 504s, IEPs that pertain to the students that we're working with.
We do check in with tier 2, tier 3 students, and we do attend the MTSS meeting so we can have referrals, and also the PBIS, and every other committee there is we're involved in. We refer students to the social workers if we feel that there is a risk assessment or anything happening. And then we do small groups for social emotional. We work with Victor Services, or we do it ourselves. And then we do a lot of case consultation with teachers and staff.
Do you teach a leadership class? Or
Yeah.
a little leadership group?
Yes, we do.
Do you coach?
Do you organize the
flag
handball?
football and basketball?
Yes.
There you go.
We coach and do other
Are there
extracurriculars.
community events?
We do a lot of community events, sorry. So
It's like an interview.
a big role is doing a lot of outside consultations with, like Maria said, we had the collab meeting. We had the pleasure of hearing Ms. Jackie, President Jackie Rapp.
We did.
And we partner up with a lot of community agencies to best serve our students and our families. So a lot of the holidays are filled with a lot of fun stuff. We refer students for Christmas events and all of that. And then we also partner up with a lot of consultations for backpacks and YCCA and all of the above. So we do a lot of consultation with outside communities. Yes.
Let me clear my throat, Jackie. Hold on.
Let me hear my, clear my throat.
You ready? Come on, come on.
Good evening. My name
Next
is.
slide, please. Sorry.
Oh, it's my
Let's
hand.
see. I'm going to do this one real quick. I'm sorry. Do you want to do it with me? Are you sure? This is the amazing Maria Munoz. Really impressive in her first year. You want to jump in?
Sure.
Thank you. She's like, don't do
I just want to point out that I'm wearing the same shirt in that picture right now. I didn't know that. Yeah.
We would not have noticed.
that. It looks great.
Thank you. So I work with our foster and our families in transition. Some of the things that I do is for our foster students, I attend CFPs, 504s, everything, wellness meetings, MTSS. I go around all the schools. I work with the social workers, with the outreach, our liaisons as well. I work with our community agencies. Right now I'm working with AmeriCorps and CYC. And I work with our HSP housing programs, and I go around the motels and try to increase our attendance. I do grocery deliveries. Right now I'm working on getting a lot of warm clothing, and if you guys are ever interested in visiting me at YOLO, I have a fully stocked room that's available to all our families.
Do you do TV interviews?
Um,
You're on news. You're
oh
on the
yeah,
news.
I was part of Fox 40 in an interview, and we got a lot of school supplies. And I'm hoping to keep that partnership going. They also donated a bunch of Halloween costumes for us this year as well.
And gas cards, gas cards, gas cards. They're going out like crazy. Next slide. Next slide. Let's try it. See.
Good evening. My name is Lorena Vega Aguilar. I've been with the district 20 years now. I was a Westfield star in the beginning, but I am glad for my team, now big team, but my team is with the liaison. I'm a Spanish parent liaison for usually district, but I'm home at River City. So these are a few things that we do, which is we work with our parents, provide interpretation, translation services in all these different languages, attend and translate for IEPs, SSTs, 504s, and parent conferences, translate documents, flyers, forms, support our school staff with communication between the parents and the students, assist parents and students to navigate through the school system, conduct home visits, also take food, take COVID tests, whatever we need to do. So we do that, host parent workshops, provide social emotional support, not only for our students, but for our parents also, because they come in our office, we have to have our sessions with them. And so we also support the site with MTSS, PBIS, attendance, registration. We know we wear many hats. So that's basically what we do. Thank you.
They're all so humble, right? This whole group is so humble. I mean, I don't know how many times I've cornered a liaison and said, I need your help. I've got this important meeting. this parent's frustrated, need translation. They come in and they're amazing. Every one of these people right here is just amazing. I look around and probably tell a story about each one of them. And just in the short time I've known them and worked with them, they're really amazing. And we have some people missing tonight. You know, it's an amazing team. You can feel the family. Ms. Tran, you want to say anything before we hand out these amazing? So Ellie kept saying, last time we were here, we got certificates. I'm like, you're not getting certificates. You're not getting them. So then we made them anyway because I have to mess with them. Yeah. Ms. Dana Nielsen, social worker. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go. Ms. Navarez is not here. Let's go. Ale Gutierrez. You got to hold it up like over your head and like we do. Alex Yang. Hey, hold it up, hold it up, hold it up. Carla, is Carla here? Rangel? Andrade? No. Okay. Edine, are you here? Okay. I'm going to say this name properly. Ellie Leon. Hold it up over your head. Karitika is not here. It's good to hear their names, though. Maria Corrales. All right. Thank you for coming to our district. Appreciate you. Maria Munoz. I was going to wear that top. Ruth. Thank you. Is Salvador Vega here? He says his name so much better than I do. Susana. No. Yes, she is. Stacy Tran. Maria Jaquez. And you did amazing. Is Graciela here? No. Do an amazing job. Vanessa Palomares? No. Banu. Banu's new to us. She's doing a great job at Bridgeway Island. Hey, you're...
I owe you a certificate, Jay.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
For our liaison team, we have Miss Lorena Vega. Fantastic job. Valentina Krishko, one of our former WSD students, now liaison.
Hey.
Claudia Martinez. Kamlesh Dutt. And not here tonight, but translating parent conferences at Elkhorn is Miss Monica Valdez. And helping her sister, who just went into labor an hour ago, Miss Salsala Barami.
And I feel like I'm going into labor right now because I left Ms. Adrienne Miles out here, who's amazing. And Patty, our new Patty, but she's not here. And Patty Moore, so I'm embarrassed. My apologies.
So you have to wrap.
Hold it over your head. I'm going to make you 2 tomorrow.
So you have to wrap now.
Yeah.
Now you have to wrap, Jay.
Yeah.
Now you have to wrap.
Do you have any questions for them while I'm sweating now? No, I'm just
I just want to make a comment. I'm so proud of, why do I always cry? You all know that I was an outreach worker, that I ran translation services, that I was in Oakland foster youth services, that your position advocated for 6 years. My first year here, we had a triple homicide of children, and we had half your size, and you all showed up for the community. Then we had a double homicide, right, on the north side, and you all wrapped around this community, and at that time, people didn't understand the power of you, the power of your heart, your commitment, your souls, your connectedness to this community, right? Then the pandemic happened, then you still showed up, feeding our families, serving and supporting the mental health needs, right? While everything else was shut down, you went out there and you lifted up our families because you knew that our students and families needed to see your faces and see your heart. So from the bottom of my heart, I'm just so proud of you, so proud of everything you've done for us, right? So excited about the opportunity of community schools and the wellness centers and the opportunity, talk to some of you about what the pathway looks like, right? The future's before you. Right? Sometimes we think in education it's only one thing. And I'm telling you now, I'm sitting here where, I'm old. I feel like I'm old. Decades ago, where you're standing there. And I'm just so grateful because I know how hard it is. You put your heart into it every single day, and it's hard to leave yourselves just because of the things that the students tell you. The things you see, the homes that the conditions in which they're living in, but you bring joy and love and light. And I just wanted to just thank you for that, right? I remember that, and I see you, and I know you, and I'm just grateful. And it seems like there's a little bit of squeakiness happening from Clerk Venegas over here. Clerk
Is
Venegas?
it squeaking? Am I squeaking? I'm sorry.
Did you want? I didn't know if you unmuted because you wanted to say something.
Most definitely. I interrupt you, but I did most definitely. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
we can hear
Yep,
you.
we can hear you. You're on mic. You're on mic. Everybody can hear you.
Just want to say, piggybacking off of President Wong, you know, when we're talking about equity and we're talking about translation, you know, you only know if you know. The amount of comfort, the amount of trust that happens the moment you speak. One, you reach out, but two, you speak the language. There's so many barriers. There's so much that we have to do to build a relationship, and I can tell you from personal experience just the amount of impact that's being made simply because of a language, and you know, speaking the language just really speaks care. I mean, commitment over compliance, right? It really is. The reason why I serve on this board, and I just have to again just want to echo how important it is for you to be here and be celebrated, and how much you truly do in your everyday. You might see it as it's who you are, or it's just what you do on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday, but it truly is special. So thank you all for taking a moment to celebrate it.
All right, Clerk Venegas, you cut out. Any other comments from the board before we go down and take a picture?
Well, we can all go, but I was going to say, I just want to come down and give you all a, shake your hands or give you a hug. So it's been well said already, but I'll let my colleagues speak. But thank you for all you do, and a lot of gratitude for you all, and very exciting that we are where we are, where we've expanded and have more of you, and we hope that we continue working with that with community schools.
Yeah, and I know I can't say it better than President Wong, but I just wanted to say thank you all. I started on this board in 2015, and this is amazing to see how many people we now have as a part of this team. It was literally half the size, and it might have even been closer to a third. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. And I have had the opportunity to go to some of the events that you've put on, and your dedication and commitment to the kids in our community is just, it takes my breath away. So I just want to say thank you very much.
I agree. I can't not say thank you, and that we see you and what our kids are going through. It's so important in this time to have you here and for you to have each other. I am thankful that you do. When President Knapp was talking about, the debriefing process and what we've been through over the past 3 years, I know that it's important. And many of our students have more than just what we went through over the past 3 years. So I really want you to hear that we do see you and appreciate you, and honestly are comforted by your presence, because I trust you with our kids, and I'm thankful that you're here with our kids. There is so much that we see happening on our campuses, and it's hard to think of how to address it. And so I just really am grateful that you're here with each other. And please reach out too. Know that this isn't just for you to support our community, but that we support you too. And if there is something that you need to discuss or talk about, like, we are definitely here to listen. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to come down, and then we're going to have Dr. Burns rap a little bit.
All right, it's a big group, so everyone face me. Slight slant. All right, on 3. Smile at the camera. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Everybody, so.
All right, now is the time for public comments, but are there any public comments?
One pre-submitted.
Oh, just the one pre-submitted? No live public comments? So I am going to read the pre-submitted public comment from Ms. Gail Costello regarding standardized tests. We are seeing multiple articles on the extremely concerning U.S. standardized achievement test results for spring of 2022. When is WSD going to reveal their strategies to evaluate and then remediate grades 1 through 5 learning deficit? Those national scores were for grades 4 and 8. But every first through 5th grade WSD student needs to be evaluated for their reading and mathematical skills. Then massive remediation programs must be launched. And if students have not reached predetermined levels of mastery by May 1st or some arbitrary date that this coming spring, they must be retained in the same grade for another year. Maybe elementary schools will need to provide one remediation/enrichment class at each grade level. 4th grade students who cannot read are doomed to failure. Similarly, students who cannot add, subtract, multiply, and divide cannot progress into fractions and decimals. WSD needs to identify those students who did not thrive under remote Zoom learning, and they must be provided with additional guided opportunities to master reading and basic mathematical skills. Okay, that is it for the public comments. And we are going to move on to, there are no public hearings, so information discussion items, Measure Z update and Westfield Village modernization budget alignment. Assistant Superintendent Monique Stovall.
Good evening, President Wong, trustees, Superintendent Hildreth, and our community. This evening, I'm joined by our new Director of Facilities, Giselle Geiger, to present to you a Measure Z update and Westfield Village budget alignment. This is an information item. We're not requesting that you take action at all. It's an information item for discussion, and we're looking for feedback. This item has been discussed with our facilities subcommittee I think it was just last Monday, and now we're bringing it to you for discussion. We're also joined by A.C. Martin, who is our architect on this exciting Westfield project.
So we'll be sharing a Measure Z update, Westfield Village budget alignment. Oh, scoot over for the microphone, okay. Down. Okay, so our purpose and overview tonight, we're going to provide the board an update on the Measure Z priority project status, Westfield Village budget alignment, and the Westfield Village design overview. Our alignment to the strategic plan, whole child, healthy, safe, challenged, and supported. Equity principles, ensuring that all students are provided access and opportunity to resources. And our 4 pillars, Pillar D, safe climate and equitable access for all. We've got Pillar D. So Measure Z, we want to give you the status of facility efforts throughout the district. As a reminder, in November of 2020, the voters of West Sacramento authorized Measure Z bond and issued $150 million in general obligation bonds for school facilities improvements, construction, and modernization. This is a timeline that shows how funds will be expended over time with the Measure Z bond. First, the Westfield Village project with a completion estimated at the beginning of the 24-25 school year and a budget of $42,390,000. Next, the Elkhorn Village Modernization Project, which is estimated to be completed at the beginning of the 25-26 school year, with a budget of $59,319,000. Last, the Performing Arts Center, with an estimated completion again of 25-26, and a budget of $38,805,000. There's also program costs that will run through the completion or the end of the bond of $9,486,000. Now I'd like to cover the Westfield Village budget alignment. To review, the Westfield Village conceptual budget was approved by the board in December of 2021. And that budget included program costs or costs for things like architecture fees and other soft costs of $8,357,000. It also included construction costs of $30,466,000 and contingencies of $3,587,000 for that total budget of $42,393,000. The timeline for Westfield Village was last year we worked on budget development. We secured our architect and our construction contractor. We started work on the design and we worked to refine the scope. This year we're continuing with the design process. We're finalizing that scope refinement. We're refining the budget and we're obtaining all the state approvals for construction. And we're starting our school and community communications. Next year will be the year that we have construction. That'll run through the 23-24 school year. And our school and community communications will continue, with our goal of welcoming the students to the modernized Westfield Village campus in fall of 24-25. The Westfield Village Modernization Project is a collaborative effort with district teams and construction professionals, including the maintenance and operations team, technology, educational services, the Westfield administration, food services, and special services. There were some changes to the facilities master plan from when we started the project. Programmatic changes have occurred at the Westfield Village and throughout the district since the development of the facilities master plan in 2019. Also, to ensure equity between district sites, it was necessary to include additional elements in the design. Here we have our estimated construction costs. The design estimate based on the facilities master plan that included escalation was $34,305,000. That's already higher than our $30 million budget. Then we added a wellness center space for equity alignment at $629,000. We added visual and performing arts classrooms for another equity alignment at $549,000. We added 2 classrooms that were not included in the facility master plan for $2.5 million. And we made the decision to build a new administrative building and library in lieu of modernizing existing building for an additional $41,000. The total estimated cost came to $38,024,000. So if we look at those figures, our initial construction budget was $30,466,000. Our estimated cost came in at $38,024,000. So we have a funding gap, or we're over budget by $7,558,000. So we need to find a solution to bring that budget back into alignment. So we looked at student-centered choices to bring the budget into alignment. Collaboration with district partners, along with recommendations from the project architect and contractors, identified student-centered solutions. We found solutions to de-scope from the project to reduce costs. The first place we looked was the kitchen. We could minimize changes to avoid required code upgrades or seismic upgrades to the building. And that would save $1,135,000. We could make changes to the landscape and reduce the allocated price per square foot and landscape budget and save $313,000. We could simplify the design of the exterior features on the new wings and save $520,000. And we could reduce those 2 extra classrooms, knowing that the facility master plan and enrollment projections showed that the 2 classrooms were not needed. Those descoping solutions add up to a total of a savings of $4,468,000. But there's still an additional gap, so we looked at ways to bring in more funding. We could bring in funding from the construction contingency of $1.6 million, leaving $1.3 million in the Westfield construction contingency budget. We could use ESSER 3 funding that we'd set aside for wellness centers, knowing that the LCAP of $1.5 million can continue to support wellness centers at schools. We could also contribute $1 million from the $3 million Measure Z bond program contingency, totaling $3,110,000 in additional funds. So, in summary, we could descope $4,468,000, add funding of $3,110,000, totaling $7,558,000, and eliminate the funding gap. As a result of the collaboration and student-centered solutions, the new revised construction budget is $33,556,000. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to our architects to give you some overview of the design.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sarah Ho. I'm the project manager on the project.
And I'm Deborah Lesnevska. I'm a managing principal at AC Martin.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to just say thank you guys for having us here, and it's really a unique opportunity, and we feel really proud to get an opportunity to get to know a district and really help out. For us, this is just always really exciting to be able to change how a school that's been, aging over so many years, really be able to give it a facelift and get the excitement of the community around it. So what this graphic shows here is a little update of the design after we kind of rescoped and worked out where we can have ourselves financially at a place where we can provide the most amount of improvements, again, student-centered based, and still get as much out of the amount of money that we have and get the campus to where we need it to be. So what you're looking at is a campus that is set for 700 students. I think the original request was 600, but if you were to fill it to its max with the Washington Unified student capacity can fit 700 students. On the far left corner, you see the two buildings. Those are our new early education classroom buildings, so pre-K, PK, and kindergarten classrooms, so 1350 meeting the CDE requirement. We have a new parking lot layout that's much safer for kids that are walking. It meets all the CDE requirements and really has a nice extended drop-off so that you can get the congestion off the street, which is a big problem in most elementary schools. It also has an entry place around the kindergarten and early education classrooms so that parents can drop off directly at the gate for kids that you don't really want walking around campus wondering where their classroom is. There is a bus drop-off on the right side, and it's kind of right by the new administration building where you see the tower. That's kind of like the beacon of hope to come and get help here at the administration building if you need it. And right there next to it is the library and wellness center. Deb, you want to talk a little bit about the design?
Sure. So when we started the project out, we had a couple of different goals for the project. One was to maximize the existing space as much as we could, and then to also provide equity across campuses. We really wanted to take advantage of some of the outdoor spaces that are on campus and bring some of the learning to the outdoor spaces and incorporate those into the classroom, as well as really try to deal with the parking lot situation and the drop-off situation. So those were some of our goals. And then we were able to work with the district. We originally had talked about converting some of the existing kindergarten spaces, but we realized because of code requirements for seismic upgrades of the existing buildings that it really made more sense to move that early education wing down to the southern side of the campus as new construction and leaving some of those existing classrooms in their existing configuration. And that really helped to save money from a structural upgrade standpoint. So those are some of the goals that we were trying to achieve with the design, and then some of the changes that we made along the way.
I will note the building in the back is our PE and VAPA too, so we didn't get a Yeah, so what you see here is between classrooms, we'll have our outdoor learning centers that we really like to highlight for the children. We also have, if you look to the north where that PE and VAPA are, we have a kind of a performing arts area outside for that performances that might go on. Right now, we have kind of more of a hangout space if the middle schoolers are kind of more towards the north, so that, you know, they have kind of a place to hang that's a little bit cooler than necessarily going to the playground. And then right outside of PE, we kind of have our playground for the older kids and the basketball court. And we have some separate play areas for the early education children, kind of more towards the bottom, so they have their own asphalt play area, and then a grass field and a play structure as well. Yeah, so we have the entry is the tower, and you come in, and then we have we kind of make it so that you have to interact with the person at the front, and then you can walk through and then pass into the actual campus. We keep it really nice and secured. It's a glass tower, which is welcoming, but also for visual, that's your safety net. So being able to see out. Where we have some glass where the administration sit, we're actually going to put some graphics that see out, you don't necessarily see in. So again, we kind of take a lot of that safety and security, but visually being able to see is a way that you can respond fast. So kind of creating that Alice effect where you can alert, you can lock down. And then the library in the front has a really great presence from the front. We do have an entry where they can come and use the library outside of the fencing, but then it's secured on the other side as well. So there's ways that you can have it open to the public, but also close it off. So we definitely, and there's a separate entrance from the back if we do lock it down and the kids want to use it from the other side, along with the wellness center right there, kind of to the front of campus being kind of in the focus, but also really kind of engaging with the classrooms that you can easily get needed. Yeah, so per CDE, what's nice about the kindergarten and the pre-K classrooms is they have almost like a 960 classroom with support services. They're all going to have kind of their own little vestibule with their sinks and a separate little toilet space. And then we have a shared workroom for the teachers too. And that's required for every classroom. So for the smaller grades, you'll see that their requirement is actually 1,350 square feet versus 9.
So in summary, we're going to be replacing all portables with permanent classrooms. We'll be adding permanent PE and VAPA classrooms, adding a wellness center, adding pre-kindergarten, transitional kindergarten, and kindergarten classrooms with restrooms, and having a designated science lab for middle school students, and more. Our next step will be an action item to the board November 10th, and budget monitoring through the establishment of a guaranteed maximum price, or that final construction budget. Our team. Thank you.
Do we have any public comments on this?
No public comments received.
Okay, seeing that there are none, we'll turn it over for board discussion. And Trustee Pizzotti and Clerk Venegas, if you want to, you reviewed this, if you want to begin.
Since he's on the phone, if you want to say something first, I'll go ahead.
Look, thank you for the presentation. I know the day that we saw this presentation, I had asked my questions and pretty clear about the presentation.
Thank you. You cut out, so if you want to come back on, I think Trustee Pizzotti will begin,
Sure.
and then you can.
Sure. So I've had some extra time to look at the floor plan or the drawings, and it took me a while to recognize this thought, and now I finally got it. Can we go back to slide 22, I believe? So I know the principal is going to assign the classrooms, per grade level. But then I started thinking about it and realized that the design makeup of certain classrooms, especially for the younger students, is going to be different than the older students. And I thought, if we're going to have a middle school, we don't necessarily want them to be interacting with, or not interacting, but in the same wing as maybe fifth grade. We want them to be separate and have their own area. And the only way that I think that works is if we do something like our new Westmore Oaks campus, where they have the separate wing. So where we have preschool and TK and kinder and SPED and first, second, and kindergarten classes, we have those isolated out to a separate area. My thought is, since they're going to need like bathrooms and water in the classrooms and things like that, in a different proximity. We just lost the design on our monitors. Okay, so since we have a different makeup for those classrooms, shouldn't those classrooms maybe be elsewhere so we could fit in? Because it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 6th through 8th grade class, or 6 6th through 8th grade classes, and 1 6th through 8th grade STEM area. Wouldn't 6th through 8th grade be more appropriate where the kinder and preschool area is, and then the kinder and preschool classrooms, because they're different design, be better in that long row across the back? That's just, it's a question, but I didn't think about until after the facilities meeting. So is there any input?
Our architects definitely speak to that, because, and I'll also share, our current makeup is split. So where you're speaking of where the lower grades, the youngest ones would be, that's where they are right now. And Sarah will explain our rationale on why we made that.
Mm-hmm.
This lovely thing with DSA, who is the district state architect, that tells us when we start to modernize a building, when you hit more than 50%, then you have to start upgrading its seismic. And this building was built in 1950s.
Right.
So that becomes very expensive. And so what ends up happening when we're trying to get as much as we can as far as scope and student-based, learning activities with 30 million, you start to use your money on building structure and not really getting to put it into more classrooms. So what we had looked at is the requirements for the TK and pre-K is more. And so to be able to put that in the new buildings, because to give restrooms to all of the existing classrooms, not only the district state architect, but the CDE, who kind of signs off financially, would not allow us to put in a 960 classroom, add a restroom into that space, which means that 960 classroom will get smaller. So when you talk about equity, that's where we thought to give you guys the biggest bang for your buck was to try and actually make those classes modernized with finishes and such that you would have everything you need in the 960 for the older classrooms. And then that way we can take the new buildings and try and get the restrooms in there, and we put them down lower. So that's when we started looking at flipping the, really to give you guys as much as we can for the money we had.
Understood.
While you're thinking about other comments from trustees, if you want to.
Well, no, I mean, the other issue that I had was I wasn't really comfortable with losing the 2 additional classrooms. While you said that the budget was a main driver of that, I was worried about overflow space and whether or not we would be packing in too many kids per classroom if there was any growth.
Right, and we actually have about 100 more students than the facility master plan called for if you were to fill it to capacity, which, ideally you don't need to at first. So there is actually a lot of growth, and that's the district number. So
right.
We felt comfortable only because we were already kind of well over what we needed. We weren't getting anywhere near getting close.
Trustee Barnes,
I think that helped. I was concerned about losing those classrooms too, since we are growing as a city, but then I assume that we're taking into consideration our other, and I appreciate your 100 extra, the overflow, or the extra 100 extra space for 100 more. And then but when we think about when we are putting students, this looks really great. But as we are growing, I guess we just keep in mind, and really this is a question maybe for us, I'm not sure, just keep in mind that we are growing and where we will make different improvements later. It's just, we can't go back and then go, oh, Westfield needs this too. So that's just a thought.
Definitely, that is a consideration. And so whenever we're doing these projects, of course, the facilities master plan was completed in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that we don't keep assessing it to identify what factors have occurred that might affect our thought process and how the facilities master plan was completed and the information that it's giving us. As we shared with this project, we've added in visual and performing arts. We've added in a wellness center, and we're keeping our eye on enrollment. Unfortunately, enrollment projections are indicating that enrollment at this school will decline. However, we're still maximizing the space that we have, and with the monies that we have, that in the future, even though we're about, today I looked at, I think it's 471 students, building a school with the capacity with our most recent numbers of 700, that should be able to support our students.
Mm-hmm.
But we can make the best decision we can right now with the information we have.
Thank you. And then are we sure that with the LCAP, what was it? It was the ESSER 3 funding that it will cover, I mean, obviously that's projected. I just get a little bit concerned that the LCAP won't provide what we need in the future, and I do want to be sure that we're mindful of those programs. So, and just think about if we even can be creative. Maybe we can't. We have a limited budget, but I get a little bit nervous about not being able to still maintain the wellness center, maintain our mental health and our services, outreach, all of those things as we continue to recover from change or grow as a community.
I can absolutely speak to that. I'm actually really excited about the LCAP for this year. So if we take a few steps back to about this time last year when we were approving the ESSER 3 plan, I think we had to do it by October 31st. In the ESSER 3 plan, we put in monies to be able to basically start a wellness center at all of our sites, about $25,000 per site. But then into the LCAP, we put an additional $1.5 million to support the wellness centers, which is basically just adding on. And so when we shared that using $500,000 to be able to support the project at Westfield, that we would still have monies available. We have more monies available to support our wellness center now than we did last year at this. So we're feeling really comfortable that we're able to support the wellness centers, and by putting it into the LCAP, with your approval and your direction, we hope that that will be an ongoing funding source to be able to support this program. You're welcome.
Vice President Kirby Gonzalez.
Yes, thank you. I have a few questions, and I appreciate this, and this is an exciting conversation to have, and I'm so glad that it's happening at Westfield because it's just so needed, and this is just thrilling. So a few questions. We do have a middle school task force happening, so this is a district question. As we look at our facilities and we make these determinations, I know it's coming back November 10th, I want to be mindful that we're also looking at our programs in terms of what recommendations might be from that middle school task force. So I just want to put that out there and ask, as we do this, are we also making sure that we're in alignment with what those conversations look like? And then I think I have one idea about what Trustee Pizzotti is saying, and maybe it's already here, but it looks like the doors from the 6-8 maybe open both sides. I can't tell, but maybe if the 6-8 doors only open on the against the wing of the other side of 6-8, and then you have the 5th grade doors opening on this side, so it can feel like a separate place for the middle school. So if their classroom doors are on the opposite side of the wall versus the 5th grade, I think that might be one way to have the students feel a separation, even though the physical buildings are together. Would that maybe be an idea?
I can totally speak to that. So right now, the 960 classrooms do only need one door. They currently have two. One of the things we're keeping our eye on is, again, kind of making sure that if we do too much construction, we have to start upgrading the building. So what I propose we do is look at having that be an add alternate. So what we do with add alternates to a project is we'll get it in, we'll kind of get it approved, and as we get the GMP with the contractor, if those funds are still available, that gets just kind of added in, and it's already approved and everything. And if we really just don't run out of funds, that's something that, we look at those add alternates with the priority of the district, but we put them in there, and then that way it really kind of just comes down to that last. Oh, that's definitely.
So an add alternate is basically, I like to call it our wish list, kind of like our parking lot. So if we're finished with all of the key things that we need to do on a project, we have some monies left over and the ability left over, then we would be able to make that change. But I'd like to clarify, right now when we're looking at, I like to call it the top 2 wings. Are those, I can see very closely, are those our 6-8 wings?
And 5th
and
grade.
We're 5th. So on that very top wing, do the doors open towards the landscaping, or do the doors open towards the other wing? Both.
So these, where he's.
Okay, so maybe we could just put a bookshelf in front of a door if we run out of money. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's helpful. And then I want to make sure that the Westfield staff has looked at this and given input, and if they haven't, that they do that before November 10th.
So I'm looking back at our principal. And yes, they have.
Okay. All right. And then the other piece, and this is just from my perspective, that when I look at this and I think about our new buildings and what we add on, it's really, I think, important that we think about our carbon footprint and how we're being smart with that and how we're being, environmentally conscious with our droughts and everything else. And so it would be helpful to see in the November 10th, maybe where that is, or maybe where we could make improvements if there's areas that could be done better in terms of drought and whatnot, carbon input and those things. And then the only last piece is, maybe this is a Dr. Hildreth comment, but I know that Rotary has helped with Westfield. And I think that it would be really thrilling to just make sure that this is also shared with the Rotary group, because they have a vested interest in Westfield, and if they know that we do too as the board and that we're making this a priority. That's all for me. Thank you.
First of all, thank you. Westfield, for folks who don't know, is actually our highest free and reduced lunch campus in our district, and just really grateful that they're the first out. And if you visited, come to the Harvest Festival next Tuesday from 3:30 to 5. I will be there, giving out the same swag, possibly in a different T-shirt, but same swag, next Tuesday. And if you've been there, that's still the 6/8 wing, and you've walked it, it's really dreary, and just the idea of just modernizing it is just huge. So really grateful for that. Really love the idea that the kinders and TK and preschools are actually, there's a new build for them, because I was trying to figure out how do you even do that with the old 50-year-old buildings to actually meet the state standards and the teacher ratios. And I would also add, in addition to the middle school teachers, the UPK, the preschool teachers, looking at my WSTA colleagues who had mentioned the importance of actually lifting up the voice of UPK, UTK. That would be really good I'm sure they'd be really excited to have this floor space and the little toilets and the workroom. So I just kind of, in terms of developmentally, it makes a lot of good sense to have them separate as they kind of merge onto kind of transition into the main campus. So I also like the idea of you can go around the roundabout and you can drop off separately, right? So there's a lot of kind of good features with that ECE UPK transition into primary grades, right? So for example, Stonegate has a separate area. We have a separate area. There's a lot of designs on our actually existing campuses that actually have a separate preschool site. So just from my first 5 had that actual development team works. But again, I would love to kind of verify with our UPK teachers about how this works. And I think that if there's already a door on the other side of the landscape, to your point, let's open it up. And the wellness centers, I know that there's been Yokadihi and a lot of other folks, in addition to Rotary, who have poured resources into Westfield to provide supports that, kind of service supports, if that's what we were wondering, and that there's a commitment there. And leveraging, and I know that they are working to actually get more federal dollars for sustainability after the build, right? So I think that there's a lot of love trying to be poured into Westfield right now for lots of different reasons, because it's such a magical place. I remember the first time I visited, and it just reminded me of the schools I worked at in Oakland, right? The village, the community, the love, the family, right? So that's why it held a special place in my heart, Westfield did. And so there's a lot of resources that aren't district supported, but really what we saw earlier is kind of our partners have been pouring into Westfield for quite some time, and I'm really excited about this layout. So thank you for bringing it forward. So I just think that there's a lot of kind of feedback, but however, I would say from my day job, this makes a lot of good sense to kind of have the UPK separate, so that there's easier transition.
Okay, so I'm curious, since we don't want to trigger the seismic retrofits of the existing classrooms, what work is being done to the existing classrooms?
We're modernizing all of the finishes. We're replacing all of the old doors with new doors with security devices on them. So you get floor, tack board, new ceilings. We're kind of actually updating the ceiling structure a little bit, and new whiteboards, tack boards, all of that. So we're trying to really keep stuff. all interior stuff, and we're trying to keep it pretty equitable, but what we're doing in the new ones. So how we're laying out the how many teaching walls or how many whiteboards and the amount of tackable space, we're kind of trying to keep it very equitable between lower and upper grades.
And then the windows are
And
remaining.
yes, new lighting. Our wish list is the windows. So if we get enough, we do want to update all the north windows like they did at Westmore. That is actually our very first at alternate. That would be the first priority for the class.
And then dry rot mitigation and things like that.
Yes, we have a contingency.
Contingency that's not built in.
No, it's built into the budget. So it's definitely something that we, so that's kind of how we, on our side, on the drawings, we mark it, but the contractor has like a line item for that to make sure that it's in our budget.
Okay.
For anything that might come up. It's just a smart thing to do for modernization.
And so I was thinking again about the growth and where the growth is in our district. And when I looked at the major growth area in the north, there's a large apartment complex going in by the rivers. Now that's in Elkhorn's area. But my concern is when that's fully implemented, we are modernizing Elkhorn, are we planning to expand Elkhorn to handle the growth? Or are we going to have to push our boundaries south, which then may impact other schools, which is, I guess, kind of the question.
Very good question. And I'll say that information is to be determined. Maybe 2 board meetings ago, you approved an enrollment and demographic study. We called it a student potential, but that means how many students we anticipate will be generated from the different housing developments. With that information, we'll be able to identify where we need to begin placing students. Based upon the facilities master plan, and that was 2019, it did not include or does not include expansion of the Elkhorn. Right now, Giselle and I are analyzing those plans and speaking with the school administration to get a really good understanding of what the true needs will be for that particular school. However, we do also have Riverbank in our north area that does, at this time, depending on the programs we put there, we do foresee that that could be a school where we would be able to add more students and more classrooms there should we need.
We can add more classrooms there?
More classes.
Classes, okay.
Yes.
So they have space where you can consolidate a class or open up a new classroom?
We believe that there's enough space to add a class.
All right, thank you.
Any other last minute? Nope. Well, thank you for the information item, and I think you have some direction about a few follow-up.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to information discussion item number 2, WSD Professional Learning Updates. Director, Curriculum and Instruction and Professional Learning, Matt Ainsworth, and Assistant Superintendent Stan Moisey. Before the night's over, someone's going to rap for me, right?
Rapping?
Not there.
Oh, no, there he is. Okay.
Well, greetings, everybody. Thank you very much, President Wong, and all the trustees. Thank you. You see this group moving up behind me. We'll talk about them a little bit more as we go. Don't be afraid that they're all wearing the same outfit.
My question to you is why are you not wearing that same really fabulous dress?
Even Matt's wearing an orange tie.
I bet. That is my primary question.
What I can tell you is that I've made a living of being very different. And I've been consistently different for my whole career, and I continue to do so. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes, thank you. Although, I have to admit they do look good, though. Yeah. So thank you very much. So Washington Unified is dedicated to providing equitable access and educational opportunities for all our students. One critical component of that is providing professional learning and investing in our staff, investing in our leadership team, our classified staff, and our certificated staff to do all the things that we need to do in our mission. So one team that spends a great deal of their time Gonna try to get purpose. Am I doing this wrong?
Down.
Down. Okay, got it. There we go. One team that spends a great deal of their time and effort and energy in working towards professional learning, of course, is our educational services team. Tonight, we're going to provide a little update of some of the recent and upcoming professional learning opportunities that we've been doing with staff, and also highlight some things that we want to keep working on as a group to keep improving on for our district. So in terms of our alignment with our strategic plan, there's no part of our strategic plan that doesn't need continuous improvement and growth. And therefore, professional learning is a key component to making that happen in all parts of our organization. We're trying to grow everywhere we can. To get better, you do need to learn new things. You need to practice those new things. And that hits every one of our items in our strategic plan, including our goals, our equity principles, and our pillars. However, we can say, though, that our professional learning probably touches Pillar C, which is learning and growth opportunities for all employees. It probably touches that one more, stronger than any of the others. So we want to highlight that. Our professional learning is also in alignment with our goals that we've established in our LCAP, or what we call our Local Control Accountability Plan. These professional learning opportunities are helping us meet goals in regards to college and career readiness and our culture and climate, so all sides of the house. We want to make sure that everyone understands that our team believes that harnessing the power of collaboration is critical to all of this. And so we have this quote that we're sharing with you, which is that the most valuable resource that we have is each other. Without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspectives. And so we really believe that. And to tell you the truth, nothing worthwhile gets done without teamwork. And every individual staff member in WSD has a great impact on all of this, not just our team. So want to talk a little bit about the team. This work is being done by people. And oftentimes, you hear things like the district or ed services or HR, and you hear these different, terms like that, but they're all made up of people who are staff members within our district. And I'm very lucky to be working with a great team. It's not a huge team, but it is a mighty team. I can tell you that right now. And so some of our names are up here. Now, we've been very busy this week, so we couldn't take a picture like we were supposed to. So our TOSAs and our program specialists and our instructional coaches, they have wonderful pictures. We couldn't take pictures, but we could dress a little bit alike. So we're trying to make up for it that way. But I just want to call off their names real here because they are very special people in what they do. And Dr. Jay Burns, Matt Ainsworth, Carla Salvo, Stephanie Grote, Brian Briggs, Stacy Tran, Rahle Atabaki, Rosie Arcona, and Maricela Romero. These are the people that work in the district offices, with us and our admin, ed services admin team. And of course, they put in tremendous amount of hours to make things happen. And with that, I'm speaking about making things happen. I'm going to turn this over to our Director of Curriculum and Instruction and Professional Learning, Mr. Matt Ainsworth.
Thanks, Dan. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for providing us the opportunity to share all the wonderful professional learning we've been doing so far this year. So the first thing we're going to start off is talking about our classified professional learning day. This was back on August 8th, the first Monday back. It was the first time we've had a designated classified professional learning day. It was for our 9.26 and 9.5 employees. That includes our paraeducators, bus drivers, kitchen staff, noon duty supervisors, campus aide, campus security monitors, health aides, crossing guards, and our special education bus attendants. It's approximately 216 staff that we were really excited to be able to prepare targeted professional learning for their positions. Some of the sessions that we targeted relationship building and social emotional supports, differentiation strategies, specific trainings for our campus security monitors, our transportation and our food services staff, as well as PlayWorks training for our noon duty supervisors for collaborative play at recess. We've received overwhelmingly positive feedback by our presenters. Thank you to our presenters, and a huge shout out to our classified staff who were highly engaged. Attendance was incredible. We were really, really proud of this day. Here's a few pictures. You can see some of our paraeducators, our health aides. That lower right is our PlayWorks training where our yard staff were receiving live hands-on training. They just got to play. They were kids all day. So it was really wonderful to be able to put that day together. And again, this was a team effort with all of our presenters. Another ongoing professional learning is for our secretaries. We developed meetings. We're calling them the SOS meetings for our site office secretaries. And this is not just for site staff. This is for both our site secretaries and our district office staff. Our Director of Compliance and Accountability, Stephanie Grote, is facilitating and organizing these meetings. But we have a carousel of guest presenters from across our departments to support our secretarial staff. These are multi-department meetings that includes both our site and our district office secretaries. The purpose of these meetings are to promote collaboration and expand their skills and knowledge and to be able to share best practices. Our business services team receiving ongoing professional learning, CASBO, the California Association of School Business Officials. They have provided professional learning opportunities both for transportation and accounting. This is a way for support our classified management as well as classified staff to support their ongoing professional development in their areas of expertise. The CASH, the Coalition of Adequate School Housing, it's a conference that supports school facilities as well. Turning to our certificated professional learning day, this was just a few weeks ago on October 3rd. It was another great day. We're again really proud of this day. The objective of the day was to continue to foster the growth of our professional learning communities. We brought in a keynote speaker, Cheyenne Leva. She took the certificated staff through the 7 stages of collaboration. The day following that was time for them to collaborate in their site PLCs, professional learning communities, and their grade or department PLCs. Again, overwhelmingly positive feedback. It was a really, really fun, happy, positive day. It had a conference-like feel to it. A few pictures. You can see we did our keynote outside in the quad at River City. You can see our breakout rooms with our site and grade level and department teams. Shout out to our technician, Damien. He brought his drone out. And you could see the overhead shot. This was in the afternoon. You could tell because all the people are in the shade. But they are there, I promise you. And no picture of the high school is complete without a few cones on the roof. So it really captures the true experience. So again, we were so proud and so pleased with the outcome of that day. And the PLC work continues with all of our professional learning moving forward. Oh, it works. All right. I didn't know if my animated thing was going to go. So our ongoing professional learning that we've had so far this school year, some data. So far, the PL team have provided over 130 hours of optional professional learning, over 650 attendees during those sessions for a combined over 1,200 hours of professional learning. We're only a quarter way through the school year. KickUp is the program that we're using. We've never really had a platform to advertise, communicate, and really be able to track our professional learning. So we're really happy with KickUp. And again, this work is done by the team you see in front of you, our instructional coaches, our intervention specialists, our teachers, our instructional technology leaders. It really has been a tremendous team effort. Some of the professional learning we've done in curriculum and instruction. What we've done is we've provided a lot over the last few years. Majority of it was virtual, and this year we were really excited to go back to in-person to make it a lot more collaborative and hands-on. But what the feedback we got that a lot of our training was just sit and get, and the staff would leave at the end of their training with a task of a list of things to do. And so with feedback from our teachers and our presenters, we've kind of shifted that focus. We're calling them hosted planning sessions. And so there still is the opportunity to learn and to be trained. But if it's an hour session, we want that training to be about 30 minutes, and then the other 30 minutes is for production, collaboration. That way they leave with an artifact. They leave with an item that they could use the next day. Some examples of our hosted planning sessions has been our new curriculum for K-5 Science, Amplify. There's both trainers from Amplify as well as one of our instructional coaches and some of our teachers who are hosting those sessions. Our iReady diagnostic and our personalized instruction, obviously we're continuing to look at that data. Our ongoing work with our standards aligned learning units of study. As Vice President Kirby-Gonzalez talked about our task force, we're really excited. We have several task force going, our middle school task force, our math, VAPA, Grading for Equity task force. And so this is, again, as a way for us to be able to get input about the kind of the current state and then where do we want to go, including, what professional learning is needed moving forward with those teams. And right now, we have about 32 K-5 teachers who are piloting math curriculum this year. So they're receiving training both from the iReady team right now, and then in January we're going to move over to Reveal Math for our second phase of our pilot. A shout out to the technology team, Director Brian Briggs. Thanks for being here, Brian. We have a technology teacher on special assignment, Frank Parker, and they've been working with our ITLs, that's instructional technology leaders. They're at every site, being able to provide technology trainings for the district. These trainings are on district-supported technology apps, including GoGuardian, Nearpod, Canvas, Google applications. So a huge shout out to our site ITLs for their leadership and for taking the time to support the staff at their own site with their instructional technology needs. So thanks, Brian. All right, so I can take a break now. So I'm so incredibly excited to be able to introduce, we have 2 new coordinators this year. And so the first one I'm going to bring up is our coordinator of social emotional learning, Rosie Arcona. So she can update you a little bit on the work that she's doing. Rosie.
Sorry. I lack height, but I make up for it in other ways. Good evening. It's really nice to be in physical space with you all for the first time, my first time. I was asked to explain why orange. So this month is National Bullying Prevention Month. And last Wednesday or the Wednesday before was Unity Day. And so hence the matching outfits. So it's been such a privilege and honor to facilitate professional learning for administrators, certificated staff, and classified staff in supporting the social emotional learning of both adults and children. I've been able to provide learning sessions, both whole staff and whole departments in Tier 1 SEL implementation, along with using SEL to support student de-escalation, as well as classroom time away or calming corners to support student self-awareness and self-regulation. Every other week, I host planning sessions on various SEL topics, including mindfulness and the 3 SEL signature practices. And then every week, I provide resources for teachers through a slide deck in which they have activities in which they can integrate the 3 SEL signature practices into their daily routine. And in that resource, I also provide resources for affirming our different identities. And so this month is Filipino American History Month, and so there's resources for teachers to use to that end. I also continue to co-facilitate with Maricela integrating SEL with trauma-informed practices, culturally responsive pedagogy, PBIS as well. And I'm excited to have us be part of a statewide SEL community of practice in which we join other districts and county offices of education. Our first session was actually today at SCOE, and we are learning how to braid diversity, equity, and inclusion and SEL through TSEL, or what we call transformative SEL. Thank you so much for your time. And
Thanks, Rosie. Also excited to introduce our new coordinator of restorative justice and equity, Marcela Romero.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see everybody again. Obviously, I've been lucky to spend time with all of you in a different capacity previously, but I'm super excited to be in this role specifically and now serve not just the students of Stonegate and the students, of Elkhorn, and I get to go to all the sites now. It's so amazing. I'm having a fantastic time providing professional learning for teachers, for staff, for everybody who wants it. We are there, we are open. You call, you want some support. I got a call from, Dr. Salas this week. Hey, we have this, what suggestions you have? Hey, let me come run something after school if your teachers are willing. Like, I got you. Loving it, absolutely loving it. I'm looking forward to working with Dr. Burns on some visioning as far as restorative practices go and kind of what we want to look like for the next kind of 3 years and where we're going and what we want WUSD to look like with our restorative practices. And then I kind of have 2 jobs, right? I have this restorative piece, which is amazing, and I'm getting to do a lot of that, but I also have the equity piece. And we're really focusing on the grading for equity. I'm running that second cohort where we're doing sessions of learning and then sessions with coaching and collaboration. So every month they're either coming for that kind of deep dive session into the content, and then the second month with actually this coming Tuesday, we'll be meeting and they'll be getting that collab and coaching time. Like, ask the questions. You don't know what you don't know. Ask the people who've tried it already and diving deeper into that. So that's exciting work. And additionally, we're working with all middle school teachers. Matt and I have split them. I'm taking history, ELA, SDC is going to be joining me. He's got math and science, and I think PE. And we are taking a dive into what is grading for equity. So all 6A teachers are getting that. It's really exciting. It's really exciting work. Doing a lot of PBIS as well. I will officially be your Swiss coordinator here in about 5 more days when I finish that last bit of it, which is really exciting work as far as equity goes, because those Swiss reports offer us equity data that we didn't have previously on referral specific and behavior specific and looking at demographics. It surprises people, right? Like, oh wow, there's the discrepancy there. And so what are some practices that we can put in place to address that? I think that kind of covers kind of what I'm doing right now, but if you guys have questions, you guys can always reach out to me. And thank you so much for having me. Always lovely to see everybody.
Where did you all get your dresses?
Thanks, Mari. So you could hear the excitement from Rosie and Mari. They've been such a great addition to the team, and we're really proud of the work that they've done. Looking at a few of our other departments in Ed Services, our English learners, our wonderful Director of English Learner Programs, Stacy Tran, and her team are continuing to support staff with English learner supports. We're really proud that we're designated ELDs happening in all classes, TK through 12. It's targeted level instruction. Many of our teachers are utilizing the Keystone Species units. We've seen great success with those at our summer school, and it's wonderful that those are being used throughout the school year as well. Our English Learner Program Specialist, Robin Bell, and our English Learner Teacher on Special Assignment, Vanessa Rader, are also leading hosted planning sessions, taking teachers through coaching cycles. And that's with a focus on differentiation strategies and LPAC preparation. So again, we're really proud of the work that they are doing for our English learners and for our teachers. I'm looking at our special services. Our Director of Special Services, Carla Salvo, and her team have also been providing ongoing professional learning for both certificated and classified staff. Our program specialists have provided ongoing mentoring and training on IEP compliance and analyzing student behavior data. Our new education specialists have gone through Sonde certification, which is a program for multisensory solutions for reading. And again, the ongoing professional learning for both certificated and classified staff, including our paraeducators. Many of them have participated in Sonde training, as well as CPI, which is the Crisis Prevention and Intervention Training.
Matt, can I ask you a quick question on the Sunday training? How many staff do we have trained on that?
I'm going to turn slowly to Carla, and she's going to hold up some fingers. Looking at our new teacher induction, Director of Early Childhood Education, Teacher Induction, and Expanded Learning, Rahale Arabaki. Unfortunately, she's not able to be here tonight. She leads the new teacher induction program. This year, we have 70 new teachers who are in our induction program and 27 mentors. Both the teachers and the mentors are receiving professional learning. The new teachers are developing individual learning goals with the support of their mentors. Rahale also oversees the preschool and TK and has been utilizing professional learning for them as well. They have focused on the SEAL training, which is Sobrato Early Academic Learning. This is a program that really focuses to develop a foundational understanding of the importance of oral language for all children in their early literacy development. This program promotes the development of biliteracy. It affirms and supports the home language for English learner children and their families. So just again, great work by Rahale and her team. So thank you again for the opportunity to share and update you on our ongoing professional learning. I'm going to turn things back over to Stan.
Thank you, Matt. As you can see, there's a lot that we are working on as a team. And of course, our team needs a lot of support. And some of the people that support us that I hadn't been mentioned earlier are our assistants, which keep us kind of organized. Otherwise, things would really fall apart. And so they don't know that I'm saying their names, but Sarah Drury, Connie Van Doren, Isabel Mejia, Lise Bush, Ellie Gutierrez, Maricel Orepeza. Did I say that okay? No? All right, so I'm working on it. Leslie Jacob Trejo. So those people keep us going, and they're without them we can't do anything. So big thanks to all of them. As we were saying, we do have a lot of work. We recognize there's a lot of things that we still need to focus on, and we want to give you some highlights of things. Matt earlier talked about KickUp. That platform. One of the things that's able to do for us is we're able to really document well the feedback that we get from the people who attend those trainings, the task force meetings. We're able to get really good feedback on what we might need or do next. One of the areas that our staff is really looking for more focus and more resources in is differentiation. So as we know, it's very important in classrooms because classrooms are made up of many individuals. Many individuals have many individual needs. And having our staff trying to manage all those individual needs is not as easy as maybe some people think. And one shoe does not fit all, which means this is a very crucial training for us to be developing as we keep moving forward. We know that also many of our staff are having a difficult time coming to trainings offered after school. Many of the things that we have here are offered after school. So we're looking at ways that we can increase opportunities for training staff during the school day in some ways. Of course, that's not easy either because you want to do that without interrupting the flow of the regular service. That's always going to be a challenge, but we are trying to find a way to get more of our staff to have access to the training because we know after a hard day's work, sometimes going to training is not easy. We're trying to work on that. We also want to continue to provide the social emotional learning, the implicit bias and restorative justice and equity training opportunities that you heard about. Our coordinators are doing a fantastic job, as I think you could hear. And so we've made a good start this year, thanks to them. However, we are still building this foundation. So we have to recognize that there's still a lot of work to do with this. In order to build the capacity throughout our organization for better practices and better systems within the whole organization. lastly, I think we have to admit that our team is learning also. We are also learners, and one of the ways that we learn is actually getting input from the community. And so that, as I had mentioned earlier, we're using KickUp and also all the other ways of dialogue to get the feedback we need to keep growing. And we also attend trainings ourselves, as you heard earlier. Many of us were at SCOE. Some of us are part of a SCOE cohort on how to help coach staff on walkthroughs and observations. So we're all trying to keep learning as well. And so I think that's really important to highlight. So with that, I'm going to say thank you. And the team is here with me to take any questions technically that you may have. It's so nice because usually when it's like this, they're like texting me like when I'm up here and I have to look at my text, but they're all right here practically. So we can just kind of call on them. So it's much easier. Yeah. So with that, I'll say next, thanks. And we're here for any questions.
Before we do that, are there any public comments?
No public comment?
Okay, moving on to board comments, discussion, feedback. I just want to start by saying, man, y'all, like it makes me so proud. On Monday, I was at the SSPI's Task Force for Literacy. I was invited there, and I was like, we have NCUST, we have this. And the SEAL person was like, you're part of Washington Unified. By the way, we're in your district too. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, and I called Cheryl. I was like, do we know as a board what we're doing with professional development? That we are cutting edge, that these are statewide leaders, statewide trainings, going to SCOE, that we are just at the forefront of everything that's happening in California, and just really just excited about the good work of y'all. Like, you are learning, and you're learning together, and I'm just grateful for all the PD that everybody is doing. I think earlier in the comments, like, the pandemic isn't over, right? However, we are centering in equity, we always have, and it's so exciting to actually really pour into our staff this professional development opportunity. And I'm just always amazed, because when I forget to brag about my district, somebody else says, hey, by the way, Jackie, do you know you're doing this for like dual language learners? Do you know you're doing this for SEL? Do you know you're doing this? I'm like, no, but okay. So just grateful for your leadership, your vision, and the team's work, and just kind of making it a reality for our staff, because we know when our staff feel well prepared and they're poured into and provided the professional development and the time that they can be more present for our kids, because we're always lifelong learners, right? We're all educators. So grateful for that. So any other comments? Vice President Kirby. Yeah. Sorry. Al. I forgot. Voice from Beyond. Clerk Venegas.
No, yes, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear such great news and highlights from someone who is in this space. That's why I'm not there in person today. Just the amount of really desire, and just across California, for professional development to be more interactive and truly, when teachers enjoy learning, that transfers to students enjoying learning. And I'm a big believer in really making sure that the training is not just sit and get. It truly is truly looking at that feedback and listening to what the teacher needs. I think is always important. So thank you all for really taking that voice seriously and really adapting the new style of learning and the new style of teaching. So thank you. Just wanted to say that it sounds extremely exciting, and muchas gracias.
Vice President Kirby Gonzalez.
Yes, thank you. As you said, you have a small but mighty team. I know it is a small team, and that there have been cuts over the years, and thank you for all that you do, filling a lot of big gaps. And so I was surprised there was never a platform for professional development. So I'm glad that you have one now. I can't imagine juggling that. And I appreciate when we talk about this, that this is professional development for all. It's professional development for certificated, for classified, for admin. And so thank you for making that focus on the whole district. We're all in it together as learners. And I also really appreciated, we pass resolutions, but they don't mean anything if our kids don't feel them in the classroom. So for example, each month we celebrate or honor LGBT month or whatever it might be. And so creating those slide decks that you talked about, Rosie, for educators to be able to just pull and use is so needed, especially when they're busy. And just to have that for them puts it at the forefront. So thank you for doing that, because I know that sometimes things happen here that don't always get into the classroom, and I really appreciate that you're helping make sure that they do. Appreciated all of these pieces. So the only piece that I have that is, and differentiation, I wanted to speak to that too, because we've talked so much about learning disruption in our students and what they may need, especially our struggling learners. And I really appreciate hearing this, because I know that we have a lot of students who need to be challenged and who are not always having their needs met too. And that's a really important group. We know that that is a group that can also be very at risk. And so I appreciate calling attention to that and making sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our learners. And as you said, it's kind of a juggling act. We have a wide range of kids that come to us. I have one question for Mr. Briggs, and it is not a deep and thoughtful question, but I think it's important. And that is, our email addresses, they're so long. WUSC, got take 12, got ca.us. Do we think we might be at a place where this could be the year that that could be simplified so that, what do you think?
My thought was that was one of the first things that I said coming on, that we have to do that. Talking with our engineers, it's a lot harder than because all of our everything. So it would take a long time. A lot of stuff right now.
Sure.
So maybe this summer.
Okay. Well, then I guess what I will say from this place is that when you all need more support or need support in places or areas, make sure to make that known. And so if there's areas that we can better support or better do things that will make, I don't know, the public able to email us in a way that's easier. Thank you all for everything you do. It's really appreciated.
Trustee Pisani?
Want to go, Trustee Barnes? Go ahead. Okay. So thank you for all that you're doing in creating such a diverse PD program. I remember, like I said, when I came on in 2015, that was one of the biggest gripes amongst teachers, was like the PD was very limited. And, we as a board kind of made a commitment. We need to do better in providing options. And I think that's what's really helped retain and recruit some teachers to this district, is by offering a very diverse program with our PD. So thank you for that. I do have a question in terms of something that was brought up in the CSEA report in terms of training for health aides and secretaries that are administering insulin. I'm curious, do we have a PD program or a training program that provides, some kind of input or some kind of training that's more than just, watching like a 20-minute video, something that's, more in depth, something you can take a course on or a day on and really get into how to do this safely and effectively, so people will not say, because they have the option to say, don't want to do that, I'm not comfortable with doing that. Do we have something like that in our PD?
Yeah, I heard the comments earlier, and there are some things I want to look into a little deeper. But what I can tell you is that before the school year starts, our nurses actually do an in-service for all our office staff before the school year starts, and they go over procedures like the ones you just mentioned. However, people do forget things, and we do it yearly, but we may need to look into seeing if we have other. One of my things I want to investigate is, do we need to do more in-depth trainings as we go as well?
And as well for substitute.
Correct.
because you could have a day when, a health ade's out, secretary's out, and you have a substitute there.
Well noted.
What kind of training are they going to have if, somebody walks in and they need their, insulin injection, or they need their pump, modified? Just wanted to throw that out there.
I think our resident board nurse has some comments. I have some thoughts too, like, yes, I know, but go ahead.
No, that's it. I'm good.
Just to be clear, I don't know that insulin should ever be administered by anyone other than a trained nurse. So I don't know that we.
Let's not go down that road.
Okay. Again, I don't know that insulin should be administered by any. I know that insulin should not be. So we'll figure out. We should do a deep dive if that's happening, because that's a very dangerous situation. I am also very thankful for all of this, and I feel like we have a really rich database or set of tools for our classrooms, and like President Wong was saying, being state leaders. I mean, this is like super cool, and I'm so excited about it. I'm wondering if we, and I appreciate that you're saying that we're still building the foundation and that we're learning and all of the things. It's very important to recognize that. And I'm wondering, like, the transition, I'm just curious, and you don't even really have to answer it, but what will that look like when it's like, here's all these great new tools. How do we, like, be sure that they're utilized? I'm sure that might be a huge question, so feel free to say I pass, but if you have an answer, I'm
Well, I don't know about an answer, but in the end, we look at how our staff and students are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what we started doing last year, quite a bit more than maybe previous years, is starting to have surveys to our students of all ages, really, and also to our staff. And so, a lot of what we know we need is based on what we're told. And what we see in those metrics from the students in their answers. And so, we hope that as we go forward, we will see improvement in all those areas. So I don't know if anyone else wants to take a crack at that.
I just want to add to that. One of the things that we're also looking at is, as we're implementing these programs, to start thinking about how we are going to measure. What does success look like? So having that conversation at the beginning of an implementation period, so that there is a level of progress monitoring, whether that be a survey or why we really have taken a more intensive focus on looking at data. And so with the board's approval, we are working with a data consultant to help us learn how to utilize data better. That's an area we see that is so important, and we recognize that at this point the district doesn't have a data and analysis division or person, so we're all learning this ourselves, but it is looking at the data, and if we're implementing something, it is the progress monitoring of whether that's through iReady, whether that is students' grades, looking at the D and F rate, just the anecdotal information from students and teachers of, are you seeing success with this investment? Because that's what it is. It's an investment, and we want to make sure that we're utilizing our public resources wisely and being able to pivot when needed, and not necessarily keeping something in the system for 2 years if we're not seeing the benefit for our students.
Any other comment? If not, I'm going to say this, because I told you, we need to apply for a Golden Bell Award for this, as well as our Equity Master Plan. I know we have to apply for it, so I'm just going to put that out there for next year, because I think we're doing some phenomenal things, and we just would really love to honor your work in a more public way. And we often meet in San Diego to receive these awards. So See, there's a thumbs up from staff. But yeah, no, but thank you for that, and just really excited about the future and what the data will yield, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Bye. And again, somebody text me or email me where you got those dresses.
We will all be batching next.
What? No. No.
All right, we're going to move on to consent agenda items. Any last minute items to be pulled from the consent agenda? If not, are there any public comments on the consent agenda? I have
There
one.
was one pre-submitted and I printed it for you.
Yes, correct. Ms. Gail Costello has a comment on the consent agenda item 0.4.c, approval to attend the 2022 National AVID Conference in Orlando, Florida. Public comment. Why is WC sending a representative to the National AVID Conference in Orlando, Florida? I attended a week of in-person AVID training in Los Angeles in 1992 and taught AVID students over the next decade. Surely by now it has become a well-developed program that has ample ideas, concepts, and materials to serve its purpose. WSD should send a representative to the state AVID conference, but travel across the country. Should send a representative to the state AVID conference, but travel across the country and to Orlando, an expensive tourist location, is not necessary. Furthermore, Governor Newsom has prohibited travel to states like Florida when the state funds are being used to pay for this trip. Okay, any other comments last minute? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda item.
I'll move.
Trustee Pizzotti moves, trustee Barnes seconds. Roll call vote, Vice President Kirby Gonzalez.
Aye.
Clerk Venegas.
Aye.
I vote aye. Trustee Barnes.
Aye.
Trustee Pizzotti.
Aye.
You have your consent. Moving on to action items P. First, request for approval of PE exemption for juniors and seniors who have met exemption requirements. Dan Moisich, you are back up. It feels so lonely now at the end of the night. It's not even like 10. It's like literally 8:30. It's so early.
Thank you once again. So the School District Board of Education, in accordance with Ed Code 51241, C1, may grant a permanent exemption from courses in physical education if a student applies who is 16 years of age or older and has been enrolled in grade 10 for one academic year or longer. The attached students to your file have completed the exemption application process and have met the Ed Code requirements. Tonight, we are asking for approval from the Board of Education of the exemption list for the 22-23 school year, and these will be coming every year, once a year.
Any public comments from anybody?
No public comment?
I see none. I see none. Any comments from the board? I do appreciate you bringing this back every single year. Any refresher questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Vice President Kirby Gonzalez moves.
Second.
Trustee Pizzotti seconds. Roll call vote. Clerk Venegas.
Aye.
I vote aye. Trustee Barnes.
Aye.
Vice President Kirby Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Pizzotti.
Aye.
You have your exemption.
Thank you.
Item P2, approval of the contract with Van Pelt Construction Services, perform construction manager services of the Westfield Village Modernization Project that we just saw.
Yes.
Hi, Monique.
Hi. So very excited to bring this because it's part of kind of the next phase and thinking ahead on our Westfield Modernization Project. Van Pelt, we're requesting an approval of their contract to do the management of the temporary relocation of our students from Westfield to our Clarendon campus while we're doing the construction on the Westfield campus. We estimate that this contract will be about $47,000 and it'll be paid using Measure Z funds, and we're requesting your approval.
Any public comment?
No public comments received.
Any discussion? Start with the subcommittee folks? No? Okay, no comments, no questions. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Clerk Venegas?
I move.
Who else
From Boise?
second?
Clerk Venegas moves, trustee Barnes seconds. Roll call vote, Vice President Kirby Gonzalez?
Aye.
I vote aye. Trustee Pizzati?
Aye.
Clerk Venegas?
Aye.
Trustee Barnes?
Aye.
You have your approval.
Thank
To
you.
move the people. All right,
People?
right, we're moving, right, we're moving things. It's been a long day, y'all. A long day. So, and it's still only 8:30. Should we just continue to talk till 10?
No.
Oh, wow, no board governance items. That means everybody's foregoing their superintendent and board comments. I'm just joking, Superintendent Hildreth. Welcome back.
Thank you. I have just brief comments today, and it's really different comments than I was going to do, but this meeting has just filled me, my soul. Like, this is the vision for me of what a student-centered district looks like. So starting with all of the support with our social workers, our youth outreach, our outreach specialists, our homeschool liaisons, just hearing we have a foster youth liaison, and things that I didn't know, but just hearing how the capacity has increased. And I've been attending, I think I've said in the previous meetings, the coffee with the principal, and just going to those, and we've had all of our support services team speaking to parents about the services that they provide and the support, and the parents are so grateful of, they'll share how their child received that support or somebody they know. So it's just, for me, that I can see the difference of what support looks like coming from such a large system into a smaller system, where you hope that by coming to a smaller system, you can see change happen and support happen faster. And this meeting today has shown me that that is true. You can see it faster because, for me, the sense of urgency that there are kids in seats every single day who need our very best, and that we have teachers, we have support staff who feel that sense of urgency in the same way that I do, is just, that's my takeaway from tonight. That sometimes you feel, we gotta get this done. And I saw that a lot of people feel the same way. And even when it's hard and we don't have enough of anything, but the heart is there, and our staff, our employees are willing to do whatever it takes to support kids. And I think that's what makes Washington Unified special. And I just have to figure out a way of how to get that message out more, because with a parent hat on, that's what you want. You want a school system where people care not only about your kids, but everyone's. And that's what our staff showed me today. So I just really appreciate that, and see that this is a group that believes in educating and nurturing with love. And that's what fills my heart. So just so grateful. I needed this meeting in a different way. I didn't even know I needed the meeting. Like, who needed a meeting? I guess I did. So just so thankful for everyone. Want to highlight a couple of good things also. We started a Rising Readers program, and this really was kind of the brainchild of a conversation with President Wong and Clerk Venegas last year, talking about how do we increase peer mentoring even through Zoom, because how do we do that? So this week, our Westmore Oaks students visited River City High School to meet with their student mentors. And they're kicking off what they're calling the Rising Readers program. And it aims to build community, foster a love of reading among our K-8 students, with their counterparts at River City. And so the reading tutors at River City are trained in basic reading comprehension strategies and discussion and learning how to facilitate. Twice a week, the reading tutoring occurs in 30-minute sessions featuring one tutor for every 2 students. And then we're doing a pre and post program assessment where our data will be gathered, and we're going to look and see, are we seeing a difference, like using their iReady data to see if that makes sense with the data, and getting the students and the tutors' feedback, because we're looking to see not only is it making a difference with your academics, but is it that relationship, like that brother, sister, that confidence of just having someone at the high school that you can look up to as a K-8 student. And so we really want to give a big shout out to both schools, the teacher leaders, John Armas and Angela Schubert, and reading intervention specialist, Denise Alvarez, for all their hard work to get this program off the ground. So we're really excited about that. Want to give you a follow-up from last meeting when you approved the diversity recruitment and aspiring leaders program. Our HR team had a first Q&A session last night via Zoom, and we're pleased that there were about 20 interested individuals who joined to learn more. A second in-person Q&A is scheduled for next Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30, and that will be held at Washington Middle College. So there is interest there. As I mentioned, I had gone to Westfield Principal Coffee this morning. There were about 20 parents who attended. It was such a great way to start the day, and the families were excited. They were engaged. There was a raffle. They gave away a bike. I mean, it was pretty big. I said, when's the next one? So it was really good. And then in terms of connecting to what I think Colum shared, and really getting our high school students involved in civic engagement, we had sent out information about the YOLO Youth Commission looking for students to join, and 87 applications were received. I'm not sure about that. Do you know if they were all?
They haven't announced.
But they received a total of 87. So they're looking for only 15 spots. So hopefully at least one of those spots will be from a Washington Unified student to get that level of experience. And then lastly, today at the district office, we hosted the YOLO Works Job Fair. And it was with YOLO Works, our YOLO County Health and Human Services, YOLO County Workforce Innovation Board, in partnership with the district, the West Sac Chamber of Commerce, and the City of West Sac. So the job fair was in the multipurpose room today from 10 to 2. There were 40 participating employers and resources. It was well attended. Our team had a booth to showcase the various job opportunities within our schools for certificated and classified. And so we want to thank our partners for making this event a great success. So great things continue to happen in Washington Unified. Thank you.
Trustee Barnes?
I'll be ready. Yeah. So the Fall Fiesta, of course, I missed the Southport one. This is like the best time of year, all of the school festivals and community gathering. This year was incredible. Obviously, my kids do go to Elkhorn, so that was special for us. But the fact that we have so many people willing to participate, and that we were able to be together and come back together from across the community, from across the city, was really amazing. And there were booths and dancing and prizes, and it was just so cool and so much fun and so heartwarming. And kids were talking about it, families were talking about it forever. So I want to say thank you to the parent boosters who put that on. and to the community, because I know a lot of people contributed and that took a lot of effort. And so it was an incredible, we used to have it in the sort of like hallway, and this year it was like out in the actual asphalt of the back of the campus, and it was just so cool. So really excited about that. And that I think was all that I really wanted to touch on. And then of course I did want to address I was going to say this in my comments though, the health aides or nurses, LVNs, or any staff helping with caring for the health and safety of our kids. I know we've committed to assessing that, so I just want to be sure that we really do that and do that safely, and maybe get the input of Carrie and Samantha when we're doing that, to be sure that we are not, because when I know that there are probably specific instances where a child has a need that's an urgent problem, and it shouldn't happen that we put a staff member at risk for having to do something like administering insulin. And there is no training that I'm aware of, but maybe I'm missing something that would be acceptable for someone who's not trained in healthcare to be able to administer a drug like insulin, especially if it's an injection. So that was my only thought and my pushback. I just want to be sure that we're really safe. I didn't mean to, but it scared me, to be honest. So just to be sure that we are thoughtful of that. And I don't, I know that we have needs and it's tough, and hiring may have been an issue. I'm not sure, but I hope that we are thinking of how we can support all of our kids, because it sounds like we shouldn't have a reason not to have someone available all the time. And insulin is just one glimpse of, administering medications like that is just a glimpse of what our kids might need. So just to be safe, I know I've heard of some gaps here and there. So just to be sure that we're being safe and thoughtful. And not asking someone, it's providing healthcare, even a Band-Aid can be scary. I know I'm always thankful to our Elkhorn person. She's amazing. Our health aide, Thora, she has to call me often. I know I said it before, but she assesses kids when they bump their head, and that's scary. That's training that she's really good at it. And I know across the district we have a lot of, and I know that from experience, Cora bumps her head on the reg. So, but that's a big deal. So just to be sure that we're not just saying, okay, insulin's the only thing, but there are other things that our kids need to be supported in. And so, yeah, that's it. I think Samantha and Carrie can be really helpful. Thank you.
Trustee Pizzotti?
And to piggyback on that, we had a situation recently where the perfect storm happened, where there was no one available. We had, thankfully, a substitute who had an insulin-dependent child was there. But I wouldn't, if I'm asking that substitute to administer somebody else's kid, I would be very leery of that. So anyway, going off of that, I do want to make sure that we do have some kind of training for the staff that are being asked to do this. That is in-depth, thorough. Anybody that asked to do that, so that they feel comfortable, even if it's just the pump, it would be helpful. Because I have received concerns from parents as well as staff who were asked to do certain things we're not. Also, I just wanted to say, thank you to all the staff that showed up here tonight. You guys do an amazing job, and while we only get to recognize you sometimes at specific board meetings, know that we do appreciate you throughout the year, because you really are working with our kids, and it means the world to us. So, let's see. I wanted to keep this quick, so it was brought up by, I think, the WSTA representative about external lights on the back of the football field. I think that would be an outstanding idea because it opens up space. I know we have the makeshift lights or the portables, yeah. But those don't cover very much of that back football field or that back soccer field or whatever. And that opens up for potential band training and, soccer, additional soccer training and football training, any field sport activity back there, or even any other activity that we would be doing closer, to winter time when it would be dark. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. I know we're not made of money, so that would be an additional funding request. But to look into it wouldn't hurt, just to find out what that will be. And then the one last no, I think I'll end it there. Thank you everybody for making this a relatively quick evening.
Clerk Venegas, from Beyond.
Yes, let me start with gracias. Going back to the to how we've navigated in these last couple of years, I do just want to double down on the idea of moving on faith and not moving on fear. It's extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful when you have this much engagement from the community, but also from the staff and the students, and just everybody appreciating each other. So thank you all for acknowledging each other. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Second, I'm so excited to hear about this peer-to-peer program, this peer mentorship program. I know it starts with an idea and moves on to a program, but ultimately, the vision that I have is that our students, especially our high school students, they see our community as an entire campus. Like we're so resourceful in West Sacramento, and there's so many hidden gems that I'm really excited about these students tapping into their potential. Like I've said before, to enter a world of service, it can be really fulfilling for a lot of these students on both sides, the mentee and the mentor, and they could really start to see or increase their self-worth and self-value and self-image. So I know there's a lot that's going to come from this, from taking action on this idea. So thank you all for putting it together, for building it out, and trusting, having faith. And the third part that I would like to address is, I believe it was during the CSCA report in regards to stipends and for translation. Now, I'm not sure if they were talking about like informal translation or specific like directed translation services. But again, just speaking from experience, I don't know that stipend, like hourly, is the right format to go about translating, because I don't know. Sometimes it may be a one comment, maybe it's a quick conversation, but maybe if we can really look at another way to compensate translating. Again, not sure if it was formal or informal translations that we're talking about, but I would definitely want to find a way to encourage translation, especially it happens so often in such an informal way, that I want to make sure that we are appreciating that and we are encouraging it and empowering that. So just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. I did hear that. I did note that, and I definitely would like to make sure that it's not a hassle to have to prove that you are using, or that we are translating. Again, want to find a way to encourage it versus making it a hassle. or adding barriers. That's it for me.
Okay, Vice President.
Thank you.
Vice President Kirby Gonzalez.
Thank you. All right. This has been a fantastic meeting, and I want to acknowledge that it's parent or family conference week as well, and that our staff are working so hard and kind of overtime right now on hours to get to meet with people. As we heard tonight, as one of our outreach specialists was there translating. And so, or homeschool liaison, and the work that's happening right now, it is a busy time and it's a lot of work, and but it's so important being able to connect one-on-one with your child's teacher and to hear individually what do they need, how do we meet their needs and move forward so that we make sure that this is a really successful year. So I want to thank all of our educators for the work that they are doing with that. And on top of that is the busy time of all of these fall festivals, which are so much fun. And I want to thank Clerk Venegas as well. He made a video of the Elkhorn Fall Festival, which was really special and fun to see. And you could just capture the feeling, even if you were not there. Tonight, we had some stars of that over here. Tonight, Bridgeway Island had they were all at the Dave's Pumpkin Patch. I wish that there could be two of us so that I could have gone to that as well. Unfortunately, we missed out on that. And the Westmore Oaks did their trunk or treat. And so it's happening at all of our schools. And so staff that are already and educators who are already in the classrooms giving extra time are doing this too. And so that's a lot right now. And I just want to acknowledge how much we appreciate people giving all of that extra time to connect with families. And then, of course, the families that are helping put all of these on. I think that the question that came up was intriguing. It did make me think it'd be a good thing for us to look into the child care at some of the charter schools, the independent charter schools, and how they are able to offer certain programs. We use, of course, third-party vendors. They use third-party vendors. And so it's worth a discussion to look at their funding stream and how that they do that. And if there are some things that we haven't thought of, if there might be a way to be creative in that as well with hours of that. Also a comment that came up, which I think is an important one to consider and to look into and to do on a regular basis, because it has been a while, is that threat assessment of our school sites. We have done that before, but it's been a while. Should there be another threat assessment would be a question that I would pose now that some of our school sites have even changed and we've been doing new plans at some of our schools as well. And then we have some really phenomenal work happening with our task forces, and I'm appreciative of that. I'm really looking forward to hearing what the recommendations are, our VAPA task force, middle school task force, math task force, and I'm missing one, I think, and grading for equity. And so as that work is happening, I think it would be really important to consider having also in some of those the classified voice of what that looks like in terms of, you know, the middle school task force. I think that's an important place where classified can also have a voice. And then thinking about at what point or in what way our families can also have voices and our students can have voices in these task force, whether it is coming in and giving feedback or whether it is sitting at that table. What does that look like? But I think that those are important voices that I want to make sure are captured before recommendations come to us. And I think that that is it for me. Thanks.
Right. I'll keep it short. Really excited. Thank you for the acknowledgement, Superintendent Hildreth. You just really, Clerk Venegas, I was giving you I wanted to turn around and give you a high five, but I would have broken the computer, just so you know.
I got it.
Got it. Just thank you. Thank you for my colleagues to kind of holding on to the vision of what was going to be post-pandemic. I know we didn't feel it in the middle of those crazy 2 years, but this is, to your point, like Dr. Hildreth, this is the business, right? This is when we start talking about students and staff and focusing on kids and, okay, equity, excellence, every day, all day, empowerment, every day, all day. Well, I'm adding extra.
Every minute,
all day. And so it's just amazing to see the work and the joy on the faces of our staff, to your point.
like when you see them in live and in person, like you see them on Zoom, but you see their body language and you see like, it's justice, right? Like what Cornel West said is that justice is love in real life, right? Like that's what it looks like. And that's our staff and that's this community. And I'm just so grateful for their service. So I really, really appreciate that. I want to give a shout out to Yorgos who keeps staffing and giving me like extra goodies to give to everybody, to hand out to trunk or treats to hand. Are you out?
No.
There's none for Tuesday?
We have no swag?
We need fluorescent sunglasses.
Westfield. I just dropped them off to a trunk or treat. I can't take them back. Okay, we'll talk later. Also kind of acknowledging, and I shared this with Dr. Hildreth, just also just shout out to Stan. There was a opportunity transfer that you made a little while ago at a request of a parent and our staff, and that student's getting straight A's, doing really well with the opportunity transfer, even though that they were not successful at the original school. So really just grateful for those little things that our staff are doing every single day, that it does, even though that they could have been seen as a negative discipline case at a different school, they transferred as an opportunity and they got straight A's. And the mom came up and hugged me in tears, just super grateful for the opportunity for her student to actually have a fresh start, and the evidence is in the grade. Right, so just grateful for those little things that we know that staff are doing every single day. So, and welcome back, Mario. We missed you. We missed you.
Thank you.
And with that, that's the end of my comments. So we're going to acknowledge future board agenda items is social emotional screener results in November, universal TK action item December, and the screen just went off. And the third item is
board reorganization
in December
2020.
Okay. With that said, we are adjourned.
Future agenda.
Thank you all.
Bye.